than them this season because they had to go through the open bracket so many times. They're going to know each other's games pretty well at this point. So they certainly are a practice team as we move now onto our third game of our first series here in Pool C. Strongholds recharge. Now, Shopify Rebellion, we saw some of the stats that came in from Suppressed on Strongholds back in London. If he can reproduce that form, then we could have a very, very strong performance coming in from Shopify and potentially them taking a lead. And looking at those stats, it only looks like it's leaning one way so far this season.
Certainly does here. Very clear story that's being told. You also saw, as we said, the stats earlier, just about what they're able to do in the kills category in a game like Strongholds as well. Got to be a lot of confidence coming from them heading into this game number 3, but also they're going to realize that game number 1 a lot closer than they would have wanted. Game number 2, of course, they're falling in it. And Pool C is already delivering, I think, in the exact way that you and I expected. I think and everyone expected that it would.
It's going to be a fun pool, this one. I tell you, keep your eyes on it. Follow it all day long. You've got the Bravo stream firing up as well, so you're not going to miss any of the games from Pool Play. And just to give you a bit more context just on the pool, because it's interesting, you got Dark Inside. You might be thinking, hey, Dark Inside, why are you talking about Dark Inside? Well, it was a game 5 with Native Gaming.
Yes.
Back at SLC. There was a 50 to 46, excuse me, right down to the wire. Then you've got Cloud9 in here as well, which are I'm saying, sleeper team for the event. I think they are the upset team for me in this. They get to the bracket. Again, they get to the bracket. They get to the elimination bracket. They get to the winner side of the bracket coming out of this pool. Will be quite the performance. So this is going to be an absolute shark tank, and that's what you got to look forward to when it comes to pool play. We're talking about Pool C. Now, look at some of the other pools as well. You look at some of the names in there. It's like, good luck.
It really is wild. As you said, this pool is particularly hard to call. You and I have called it the hardest pool to call, so it's awfully fitting to start the whole weekend off with Pool C. We're going to be keeping, even when we're casting other matches on the Bravo stream, etc., we'll be keeping a very close eye on exactly how this pool goes. But I feel like you got to have more tabs open than ever. I would say just get more monitors at this stage. If you're strapping in for 3 days of the Halo World Championship from home, which we know many of you are, it might be time to get that second or third monitor you've been putting off.
Yeah.
Check the Amazon deals.
Pretty sure that there was a, what's it called?
It was a 2-for-1 deal.
Prime Day? No.
Something. Those things are good.
Other shops are available.
Got to say, though, it's going to be, we are going to have as many screens as we can backstage, just trying to keep an eye on what on earth is happening in pool play, because it has been an unbelievable year that has led to what we believe, I can confidently say, is the tightest competition that professional Halo has ever seen. And now over 2 decades of competitive play. This series, of course, is a great example of that with what we've seen so far.
100%. I mean, we were looking at some of the, the community predictions, people giving us top 4s, top 12s, whatever it might be. And I don't think I've seen many that have matched up. That kind of gives a great indication. It's not just like fandom. People obviously want to see their teams do well, but everyone is kind of like, I don't really happen here.
Chat, what is good? Yeah, it's just day 1. So we're gonna be checking this out. We got a whole weekend full. Yeah, not really. You guys don't need me. You need me here casting. We got these guys to hold it down. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. Take care of yourself. It's a wild. It's been a trip, man. But let's not get into that. Let's watch some Halo. Yeah, on their the main cast is on HCS, the Halo's HCS site on YouTube, or you can go on Twitch, or if you want to hang out with me, we're gonna ride this out till about 7, 6:30 or 7. All right, hope everyone's good, leading us right on into the weekend. I'm gonna have me a couple cocktails, and then we might be on tonight for some Rust, but we'll see how that goes. Enjoy. I'm with you in spirit and chat, so yeah, we can chill in there and hang out.
Their first match of pool play.
You are going to be tested every single series at this event. If you are crowned Halo World Champions here in 2024, boy, you're going to have to work hard for it. But FaZe Clan at least a little bit of respite here. I was about to say they're 1-up, but it's 1-1. It's 1-1.
Leor brings the flag in. By the way, we should mention here, of course, these are the artists formerly known as Alpha Esports here. Leor, Noble, Drift, Acid, legends of the Latin American scene, and now, to be honest, the global scene here, representing Mexico and some of the best players to do it, not just from the region, but also now here at the Halo World Championship, tied 1-1 with FaZe.
Tied 1-1 with FaZe and 1-1 here in Flag as well.
Wow.
with just over 6.5 minutes left. So, I mean, I said you got to come right here at the Halo World Championships. Otherwise, you're going to be found out very, very quickly. There's going to be no such thing as an easy series, and FaZe are certainly finding that out on our main stage, as are Shopify Rebellion and Native Gaming. I mean, you're going to hear this a lot from us through the weekend because, I mean, there's 2 examples.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this as well.
I can't give you better examples than what you
exactly. We've been talking about just how close the competition is going to be, but I feel like that is being painted with the backdrop of unbelievably close series already here in the first hours. Yeah, not even the first full hour of the Halo World Championship. As we take a look back at the main stage, we get ready to jump back into Shopify versus Native Gaming. We're tied 1-1 on the main stage, and we'll jump back into another very close series here.
Well, here we go then. A little bit of strongholds. So the pace will still be up there, which favors maybe, even though you look at the strongholds kind of records so far from the year, and Natives didn't look great, whereas Shopify's looked very good. But if they can kind of continue cycling the spawns in the way they did at the start of that previous game, that might give them a little bit of momentum here. But just a little step away, few moments maybe for Shopify to just talk through strategy, make sure that they're on the same page ahead of this next game. The stats certainly favor them, but as you can see from what we've seen so far, we've only been here for about 20 minutes at the Halo World Championships, then nothing really is going to matter when it comes to those stats, because it is all to play for, and this is going to be unpredictable at best.
You get the feeling here at this World Championship, something feels different.
Yeah, right.
It really does. We've been here many times before. Of course, decades of events for a lot of the players here on the stage. For you and I as well, something feels different here, where there's a little bit more on the line because of how close things are this year. There's not 1 to 2 or maybe a third favorite here at this event. Instead, you feel like you have the careers of players that have led up to this moment. It feels like you have years of Halo Infinite that has led up to here, and there's going to be so much that is put on the line and left on the line at the end of the weekend. We're already feeling that here as 3 are dead for Shopify. Cycle's your last player alive momentarily under heavy pressure.
Cycle does get finished off here, so that's going to be B still in the control of Native Gaming, and they will continue to score. They're actually trying to push a triple cap here. You can see that Mental's trying to pressure C himself as a solo for Shopify Rebellion, but Tapping Buttons and Co are there to double up on him. So it's a triple cap here for Native Gaming, and I love what you said there, by the way. I think we haven't had a World Championships where it's felt like every team and player has a story that they are trying to finish, whether it's European teams coming in, whether it's European players looking for a first Halo World Championship, where it's international players with life after Tapping Buttons, for example, like we just saw from a team going up against FaZe. It's everybody has something to play for here, and this makes it one of the most exciting events that we've ever had.
They really do. I mean, as we take a look here at the scores, Shopify's getting right back in this year off the AB hold. They're trying to tie it up here right around the 30 mark, but this is the type of maturity, competitive maturity, that you dream of in a scene where anyone in the top 8 is threatening not just the top 3, but even beyond, where every time you see a 1v1, you feel the weight of the year that has led to that 1v1. And as I said, you dream of things like this. Competitive Halo has never been this tight. And I just am so excited to be here. There's going to be so many stories written this weekend. There's going to be hearts that are broken, champions, of course, crowned, and so many teams that could hoist that trophy at the end of the weekend.
Well, Shopify are going to have a pretty commanding lead at this point, doubling up now on the score. And this triple cap that they had momentarily is going to be continued for a few more moments here. Gilkey tries to put some pressure onto B to stop that conversion, and will manage to get the reset, which should buy just a little bit of time with Shopify 2 dead. Maybe there's an opportunity here for APG over at C to flip this, but Tapping Buttons is trying to get in a position to help him out and manages to do so. 99 players in the world out of 100 would have been stuck there, but Tapping Buttons is built different.
Built different, somehow just able to squeak in between the wall and the sticky there. BC hold now. Still for Native Gaming as they try to rally back. Shopify with a very nice 50-point uncontested hold to get the lead here moments ago.
Suppressed, gets taken down. Tapping Buttons is starting to win his individuals, and that is only a good sign here for Native Gaming. But the battle of B was almost won by Shopify, but Barcode at the last second managed to get that reset. Finally, he gets taken down, but now the flood is coming in over at C. Soul Sniper and crew are going to have a lot of pressure coming in on tower, but they should, with the control and the kill they're getting, be able to flip B over and continue scoring themselves. 77-62, but again, it's another insanely close start.
Really is. Very nicely done there by Soul Slime. That's not easy to stay alive on the angles that he just had to rotate back to also come back and get the kill on C stairs. Really nicely done. It paves the way for Mental to hit shots like this. 3 dead. Gilkey's your last player alive at A, and this will be a C cap coming in for Mental and the side of Shopify Rebellion.
Mental almost beat me to it. I was about to say, maybe as a player, just getting hold of a shock rifle, going on a little run here, that's just going to calm the game down a little bit on either side. As it's just been trade, cap, being swapped between the two teams, scoring, consistently flipping. But now you're seeing Shopify Rebellion, thanks to those 2 shots that were hit. Not only with the shock rifle in their hands, but also you can see Cycle bottom middle as well. Not only gets the camo, but thanks to the damage from Cycle, from his teammate with the shock rifle, gets away with it as well.
Really nicely done, as you say, and Cycle, of course, picks up that kill. Not just gets the kill, but also stays alive with camo. That's a high-risk play with low reward, to be completely honest, when you have the camo, but he closes it out, and they will now be leading 119 to 62.
Cycle trying to play this one sneaky. Oh, he misses the green gun shot, and he's going to get traded out. APG just jiggling around that wall to make sure that that was going to be as difficult a shot to hit. Native Gaming should be able to reset B here, but there's going to be a challenge coming in. Challenge is dealt with. Gilkey does get the kill and does manage to get the conversion, but more pressure now over at B, and it's going to be trade once again for the kills. It's a 2v2 on the map at the moment, and Shopify will get the conversion, but just say it. Tapping Buttons gets the kill and starts to wrap it back towards his team, as C is being flipped as well.
Things are getting scrappy now. The insta does take him down there. That will be a trade essentially in the end, but B will still be held. That means A will now flip. Shopify scoring once again now on an A-B hold, doubling the score of their opponents here.
Starting to look like a Shopify game at this point. They're starting just to find a bit of rhythm, a little bit of control, and win some of those important fights and get some of those important resets. Just dipping a toe into the stronghold as it's about to be converted to keep the scoring in their favor. A spawns here for Native Gaming. You can see that they're a little bit trapped at the moment. Full map control. If they can flip C, he will be for Shopify Rebellion. They've already managed to pick up 1, make it 2, and now the collapse can come in. They know where all of these players are spawning, where they're all going to be, and that is why you're seeing Cycle pick up a double. Barcode trying to escape, but you're going to see surely AB flips as well.
It's an unbelievable set of mind games. They're suppressed hitting drop slides around Pizza, while Barcode hits drop slides all the way to bottom mid. Eventually, he cannot get away, which means that Shopify will continue scoring here. They're also flipping A at the same time as well. Despite losing C, it'll be a flip of an AC hold, which means Shopify will now score AB.
165 to 63. Even though it was close to the start of this game, this run in the last 60 seconds, all based off that double kill. Remember, that came in from Mental. Has swayed the momentum, and those kills all in the favor of Shopify. 178 now on the board. And Suppress is hunting for more. APG will die to that nade, and even though he takes down 2 somehow with a stick himself, Suppress should be able to keep this pressure on the beat. Gilkey with a big individual has to win there.
See what Suppress does here. It's not going to be an easy 1v1. Gilk probably knows he's there. Does he win this one as well? Oh my, trade in the end. Fantastic battle between the two. 2 dead for Shopify.
Important though for Gil to get the reset onto B, onto C, excuse me. That forces Shopify to re-wrap around the map and take that little bit of an extra second, which allows Native then to cap A. So AB is the hold. They will continue to score here, Native Gaming, but they're a little bit pinned at the moment. Barcode gets taken down, Cycle finds another one. He notices another player here, he can hear the comms coming in. APG will find one, but should be traded out almost immediately here by Mental. Will be indeed, and this is 4 dead for Native Gaming. This is the run that Shopify were looking for in the late game.
Beautifully done, almost perfectly timed. AB will flip. Yes, they will lose C, but they're playing the same game that they've been playing for minutes now, Shopify. With perfectly executed rotations, they are very happy to just take 2 out of 3, and they will once again increase their lead to over 100 points.
Gonna be an all-in play here towards A, and the all-in play seems to be working. Most importantly, when they were all trapped in tower around C, their APG got such an important pick to open the map up a little bit for them. Then they can flood knowing that they have numbers somewhere on the map. Off the back of it, they get that kill, they manage to flip, but C in the meantime has been flipped. Native Gaming need to start thinking about strongholds now. They need to start getting inside of them while they're picking these kills up, as Tappin realizes the emergency of the situation with the score starting to get away from them, and maybe the game's starting to get away from them.
Tapping as well to stay alive. He also makes sure, even in a straight 3v3, he makes sure to get B. It's really well done. But they're going to have to continue playing just like that for the next few minutes if they want to get right back into this one. The melee's big as well. We'll see if that gets cleaned up.
I think Cameron was just burnt there, as you saw off screen. Cycle, no surprise, wins his important fight on the map. It's 2v2 right now. Shopify trying to flip A at the moment. We're at the spawns here for Native Gaming. That's the important thing. They're trying to flood C. Barcode will get that camo. Excuse me, it was not burnt. And now look at the info he has. He might have been spotted out. This could be a really bad moment. And unfortunately for Barcode, he just gets spotted out by 3 players from Shopify flooding through the tower.
You have to wonder if he got punished there for stepping in. Of course, there's no way to really go around that unless you step in. 3 do fall here for Shopify. Mental is the last player alive. Barcode should be able to flush. He does flush. And even though we saw the camo fall, in the end, they get the better of the next rotation. They will continue scoring on BC. However, they are still down by 100.
This is a big moment in the game. A really, really big moment in the game. Cycle finds one, tries to hold off the push, tries to survive, tries to thrive, and somehow or other, he's buying enough time, maybe for his teammates to get in position to clean up this damage. Again, it's a cycle play, which won't show on the stat screen. He gets damage down, survives for 2 or 3 extra seconds, that allows Mental to get those kills, to get Shopify in a position to cap. It is, again, just brilliant recognition of the situation of the game from Cycle.
It really feels like Shopify has just been one step ahead this entire game, not only on the rotations, but also on plays just like that, as you say. 228 on the board for them.
And just before Cycle made that play, I was about to say, this is Native's chance. 3 or 4 dead. They know where they're spawning, they've got damage, but they weren't able to capitalize on it. And now Shopify consistently are just out-rotating them at the moment. It's A and B in their possession. They will continue to score, and even with Gilkey hitting some good shots, we're now in the desperation part of the game here for Native Gaming to try and get back into this Cycle. He's got a shot, he's got a grenade, he's got yet another kill, and of course it's a headshot.
Absolutely just wraps around, gets bunkered, if I'm completely honest there. I haven't seen a play like that since Craig Hastings Pro Paintball on the original Xbox. 248 on the board.
Headshots only to close out here for Cycle, and W's only for Shopify Rebellion. They will go up 2-1 in the series, and it's the most commanding win we've seen in the series from their side. And now it's just one game to go to deal with their first challenge here from Native Gaming.
Couldn't agree more. It looked like a very, very different Shopify Rebellion. To be honest, a very different series overall in that game. Just a commanding lead of not just the game, but you felt like the game type. They knew exactly where they needed to be. Taking a look at the kills here, it was Cycle, I believe, with 23 on the board total, leading his side. As we said, a player to watch, not just in this series, but throughout the entire weekend. Also the only player, I believe, in the lobby to cross not just 6K damage, but actually crossing 6,500 at 6,652 damage total. We'll take a look at some highlights from that game, number 3.
And there's one in particular, and this is the great thing about Halo at the moment, right? Halo Infinite. I mean, we've kind of gone on about how close everything is. It means that when something happens in a game that changes it, it's so easy to pinpoint that moment.
Yeah.
And Mental with that double kill, from there, Shopify took over. For a good 60 seconds or so, it was scoring, Camo that followed it up, and you saw this roll start to happen where everything started going their way, and it was based off of one individual play that changed the complexion of how that game was looking at the moment. And you look at the score right now, 182 to 63. This was the run that they went on, and unfortunately for Native Gaming, they just weren't able to get any kind of footing back on the map for a good 60 seconds or so.
Like you said, it feels, look at this, by the way, the Cycle with the bunker at the end of the 238 mark. Absolutely beautifully done. 250 to 123 is your final score in that game. And as we said, a very different score line compared to the rest of the games in not just the series, but also it feels like in the tournament so far. Stepping up in a huge way, and based on the history of these two teams, I think we were expecting that result. Shopify's going to be happy with that, and also be very comfortable going into CTF Forbidden knowing that they are one game away from closing it out and not one game away from being sent home. Excuse me, sent home in this series.
Well, let's take a look at some of the stats from both these teams when it comes to this season and it comes to CTF game types. You can just see the steals, you can see the cap success, which is always a great stat. That's essentially caps converted after the flag gets pulled off the stand. And when over half your flags are going home, it's usually you're in a pretty good spot here. But I will say on the other side of things, not too shabby on the side of Native Gaming as well. I think when you're looking at game types, when you're looking at specific game types that give you an opportunity in a series as well, for Native Gaming, seeing a Forbidden, knowing that it's first to 3, knowing that you can double cap pretty comfortably if you get a couple of 4 deads and one of your snipers gets hot, I'd be a little bit worried if I go 1 down in this series for Shopify Rebellion, because if they lose this game, and I'm get ahead of myself here, of course, but Game 5 is Street Slayer, and how many times have we been, let's check in with X Stream. Yeah. We've got Native Gaming versus X, and Native Gaming have won a Street Slayer. Yeah. So there's a little bit of history there as well, but you got to get there first.
Yeah, absolutely do. But I agree. I think if you're on the side of Native Gaming, you want something like an Argyle or a Forbidden here. You want something where one double kill with the snipe that turns into an OV grab, all of a sudden means flags on the board, and all of a sudden can turn games wide open. I think if this was something like an Aqua, it'd be you just start to bet a little bit harder on Shopify, right? Especially when we talk about a game that's 5 flags, that fast-paced. Instead, talking about CTF Forbidden, I agree. I think Native Gaming is going to like to see this in the series layout. I think as neutral fans in this series, we like to see it in the series layout because it could send us to a Game 5 and maybe has a stronger likelihood than a 5 CTF map. But this is going to be a fun one here, and we'll have to see. I think Shopify needs to take the exact same approach they had in Game 3. Just clinical, ruthless, brutal gameplay. Bring that into CTF Forbidden, because keep in mind, In Strongholds, you can blow games wide open. You can trip cap, you can, as you saw, win by double the opponent's score, which they just did. CTF Forbidden, the maximum margin is 3, right? So let's not forget, Shopify needs to remember, they don't want to go to game 5 here, as you said.
I would also say the maximum difference is 3, but you can be done in about 50 seconds if you play perfect Halo.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how ruthless this game type can be. And I'm looking for one of these snipers to get hot. On the Shopify side, I'm kind of keeping my eyes on Cycle if he picks that thing up because, well, you've seen enough of him so far this series to know that he can do some work with it. On the other side of things, I want to see if Barcode's going to be picking it up or Gilk, because we saw Barcode looking a little bit hot at the start of the game. We saw
oh boy.
Oh, forget about it.
Okay.
Forget about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Halo World Championship. Akave Esports leading 2-1 over FaZe in round 1 of pool play. This is your 4th seed in the pool, leading in the series against FaZe.
It was an overtime win for Akave Esports, I'm hearing in my ears as well, on CTF Imperial, which puts them 2-1 up in the series. And if you're a FaZe fan and you're seeing a game like this against the lowest seed in your pool, which is your worst game type so far this season, alarm bells are ringing. And boy, are they ringing loud early here on day 1.
I tell you what, there's something about this city, there's something about this building and this game when all 3 of these pieces come together. Let's not forget how crazy last year was in terms of what we saw in the Halo World Championship. We're already off to an unbelievable start here. You never would have imagined this series to be going this way at this stage. Akave Esports also leading in game number 4.
Not just leading, pretty commanding lead as well. Nobles found himself a sniper rifle, and we were watching a little bit of Renegade POV, and it didn't look like it. Those shots usually hit. Those shots usually make a difference. However, it does look like the breaker's coming here for FaZe, so Noble's going to have to do a little bit of work himself. Decides to just escape with the S7. Frosty going to peek, maybe. Doesn't know he's there for a second. Now he's going to find out, and now Noble has some high pressure shots to try and hit, and unfortunately for him, he can't.
Ooh, Acid wins a big 1v1 against Frosty as well. Finally, he's taken down. Drift was your last player alive, and he's got good pressure coming in on Renegade. Eventually, Renegade, though, is going to win the overall challenge. But man, unbelievable scenes. What a way to start this. I think we talked about last event how we would never be surprised based on what we hear in pool play. Not gonna lie, this one does have me a bit surprised, but I think it's just testament to what's going on this weekend.
I have to be honest, when we jumped into that there, I was like, is this a graphic mistake? Is something going wrong here? Because this is not what we expected on day 1 here of the Halo World Championships. We expected upsets, we expected close games, but for FaZe to be in this position, I've got to be honest, when it came to us, my mouth was open and I didn't really know what to say.
We're going to keep a very close eye on that series. To be honest, I'm about to pull that series up on my phone to have a side stream of our own just to keep a very close eye on that. But as we said, it's just another example of how you'll want to keep an eye on each and every stream here this weekend because you have no idea what these series are going to deliver. We'll keep a close eye on that. But right now, we are back into our main stage match. Shopify versus Native Gaming here. Could be the final game of the series if Shopify takes CTF Forbidden. However, Native Gaming going to look to extend this and send this the distance to a game 5.
All right, let's see a big play off the rip here. Someone grab that sniper rifle. Someone make the difference. Someone get that overshield off the back of it. And let's see a cap on the board early on here to see if we really can add the pressure on either side of this stage. It's going to be Mental who's going to grab it on the side of Shopify Rebellion. One of the most consistent snipers on the side of Shopify. On the other side, Barcode is trying to hold forward immediately and put him under pressure.
Gotta say, what a tournament it's already been so far, and I had no idea I'd be this hyped already. And we haven't even closed out a single series on the weekend just yet. Let's see what Barco can do off this initial push.
Barco trying to play this one sneaky. He's waiting for damage to play off of. You can see, he doesn't want to give his position away. Now with the attention taken away, he's gonna find one, but...
It's great.
Wait, that... Tappin's killing everything. Doesn't matter what color you are, what team you're on.
Tappin gets the collat team kill, the betrayal on the melee.
Tappin gets an overkill. That's all that really matters. And Gilkey is running that flag.
I think technically it's a kill tag.
God.
I think with the betrayal, it's a kill tag. Unbelievable. He's just shooting everything that moves.
Is it just a triple because we have to remove the kill? Who knows at this point? But Tappin, I mentioned I wanted to see something at the start of this game. Well, it's going to be Native who start this game off with an overkill from Tappin and a flag on the board.
We are going to have to watch that back. That has got to be one of the most ridiculous main stage overkills, arguably kill tags I've ever seen.
I'm not ready for this.
In Halo history. We were not. We thought we were mentally prepared for what Friday was going to bring. It is already off to an unbelievable start. Native Gaming scores in under 90 seconds to lead 1-0 here. And like we said, this was the game type they wanted to see in the 4th slot, and now you get why we mentioned that.
What a start. Absolutely electric. APG picks up the big stick now, and he's going to have a little go with it himself. 10 seconds till that next overshield comes up. Now, even though the start was electric here for Native Gaming, understandably, they're going to be pretty hyped up about things. They're going to be pretty pumped up about things. I wonder how their game plan is going to be executed from here on. Are they going to slowly play this game? Are they going to play a little bit more conservative? Or are they going to try and keep that pressure up? Because I think they only play their best one way, and that is trying to keep that pressure up.
Really nice stuff from APG. Look how many bodies he's hit there. Just holding down this lane, doing so well. Eventually the team help comes in, and then he earns the overshield. Beautifully done. That is amazing patience coming in from APG. Amazing experience coming in from Native Gaming to close down that overshield. That was 3 dead, and the flag run will begin. APG doing it all here.
He's going to take these shots as well. 2 dead here for Shopify Rebellion, and I love the phrase you used. He earned the overshield, and boy did he earn it. So much work was done, and now APG gets that flag back to his hut. Psycho is the only player who's furthest forward here, but you can see that Native Gaming are trying to hunt him down. Barcode's going to find him as well. Suppress trying to put damage down, but it's a 2v2 on the map.
Beautifully done. APG even uses the last little bit of overshield as well to get all the way back here. Make sure to reload in time, but knows there's a few more kills they need to get together.
They know someone is here. They're sniffing Mental out, and APG says, run that flag, buddy. I'm going to find Mental and deal with him myself. Mental's still being annoying, though. He's still been such a problem. And now the pressure, look how things are flipped. Look at the map setup, look at the map control for Shopify Rebellion. And even though APG has managed to flank around and managed to survive, that flag still isn't home. Psycho! Psycho! With 2 himself!
What did we say? The sniper rifle, 2 kills can change everything. Psycho's doing it again here. 3 dead. Gilkey's your last player alive in the back of the base. They get the flag stop. They get the return.
Oh my word. And we stay where we were, but boy, do we have to go on a journey to get here. Cycle's still posted up with his sniper rifle. Suppress and Soul Sniper will find a couple of kills themselves. Barco gonna try and pressure him at the moment. One thing I love about when you're watching Cycle POV though is not just the gameplay, it's the calmness in the player cam as well. Never looks flustered by the situation.
Oh, it's a crispy body as well. That flank, by the way, Suppress did get a touch. Cycle gets the overshield. Eventually, half bit will be taken off here. All of it will be taken off, but he denies that, Ovi. Only 3 shots left in the rifle. That flag will not go, by the way. That flag will finally return, but what a few minutes and exchanges between these two. That's 3 dead. The flag run will start again. APG, last player alive.
I think you're right. You just said what? Exactly. A crazy start here.
There's the run.
Suppress will find one, but APG does get the kill onto Cycle. There is a sniper rifle down there as well. Mental's going to try and collect this one and keep it going. Through the rat tunnel, Native Gaming find themselves 2 dead. Now, can they do the same thing that was done to them a few moments ago and make a last-second stand to try and send this flag home? It doesn't look like it's going to be the case, and Shopify Rebellion, who was staring down the barrel of being 2-0 down just about 30 or 40 seconds ago, tie this game up at 1-1.
What a stop in the end. You have to wonder, we only got that from APG's POV when the flag was just about to be ran in, and the flag was not run from the Mohawk, and we could not tell based on our POV if that was due to pressure that was coming in from the top of the open ramp, if that was due to other factors around the flag. In the end though, Cycle hits an unbelievably timed double to not just keep his team in the game, but to stop the flag. Eventually they run a very, very late and patient kind of counter cap, and we're tied 1-1 with 6:30 left. A trade coming in here from Cycle and Barcode, but you could feel just what's on the line here in this game number 4. Shopify knows they need to end it here.
APG decides to donate a kill, falls off the map there. Not sure if it was a little bit of nade damage that helped him on his way down to
Must not
the
have,
abyss.
Because the kill, otherwise the kill would have come in.
But Suppress is going to continue forward off the back of it. Now APG off the respawn is going to have to do some work. 2 dead here for Native Gaming, and the flag is moving towards the main ramp here. It's a bit of an unorthodox run, but that's because Gilkey is in a position to try and slow things down, and APG makes up for a mistake a few moments ago with a double kill, looking to make it a triple, but the damage should be enough for a return to come in.
Definitely, especially with this overshield. Gilkey's not going to let this one go away. Going to get the return, going to get the kill as well. APG, though, deserves credit there for the double and the damage on the flag carrier as well. It paved the way as well for Gilkey to get this overshield and now pick up a few kills of his own.
Tappin's got snipe as well. He's just picked up the snipe, and look, he's in the feed again. Every time the tapping buttons touches the sniper rifle at the moment, it turns into gold, and Gilkey still has a little bit of overshield here, which is going to allow him to suck up a few more bullets. and tapping buttons is still looking for targets in front of him. He is denying so much space with his sniper rifle.
Ooh, finally gets taken down. Where's that flag, though, is the question. APG's already around the ramp. Gilkey now going to go for this drop here. Should have the timing, even if the shots come in. Yes, indeed. The pressure comes in heavy. He probably gets taken down here. He does, but not before Native Gaming scores. 2v2 on the map. The run begins again.
Mental's going to be trying to counter cap here. Tapping buttons will shut it down. And now Soul Snipe trying to move into a position to support that flag run. Has got to think about staying alive and maybe just kind of conceding that that flag isn't going to be one that they can call their own. Trade does come in, though. It's 2 dead for Native. They might be able to get a touch here, and Suppress does, but Barcode gets an important kill once more. APG trying to get that return. Here comes Cycle. Does he have the timing? Of course he does. He gets the touch.
Oh my, and he has the help as well. Gets a double kill. It's huge. You thought the run was over, but Mental flies in bottom as well. Cycle should be able to bring this flag home.
Gilkey gets a couple himself, but I don't think there's anyone with a line of sight apart from him to cut this down. It's 2-2, and Cycle again making plays happen that turn into good things for the side of Shopify Rebellion. Native Gaming, every time they seem to get a foothold in this game, find themselves falling behind a few moments later, and now with 2 dead and the flag moving, 3 dead with the flag moving, this could be Shopify putting the dagger in.
Enormous plays there coming in from Cycle.
Tapping
Had to win that 1v1. Tapping picks up a kill though in the feed. Let's see where that flag is.
I think Tapping actually managed to get that kill on the flag runner, and yes, he sends it back home. So Tapping bot with a game-saving, series-saving kill on the flag runner, and the return coming in as you saw the Shopify turn their attention from flag to overshield top middle. Suppress now finds himself last alive. It feels like every time someone gets an advantage, the tables turn in the next 30 seconds, and now Gilk, he's got an overshield, and we know what happened last time.
Really nicely done here. Look at the focus as well coming out of Gilk. He knows exactly what's going to happen here in the back of the base. A lot of pressure going to be coming in. So far, some good damage.
A lot of good damage. Barcode finds one. Tapping will fall. Gilk's thinking about the run. Does he have the timing? Does he have the support? Does he have the cover? It's 2 dead here for Shopify Rebellion, but Mental takes the angle to get ahead of that flag and shut it down.
Really, really nicely done from Mental there. That was not easy. He needed the kill and he needed it then. Also has a jump on Barcode. Barcode does not know where the pressure's coming in from. They should be able to clear out their base here.
So the overshield essentially turns into nothing when it comes to flag cap opportunities, but the sniper rifles are about to pop once more.
Enemy flag return.
What a game 4 here. 2:53 left, as you said. All eyes are going to be on the snipe. Gilkey's going to grab his. Mental's going to get forced back, maybe even have to drop. Oh, Soul Snipe.
Oh! What? That
Soul
one's been
Snipe.
practiced.
Unbelievable insta. Cycle's the one that gets the kill in the feed, but watching that from the receiving end was disgusting.
2 snipes here. 2 snipes here for Shopify Rebellion. Suppressed has one. Soul Snipe has the other. They have them pinned in the base. This is the chance. This is the opportunity to close this series out. It's 3 dead for Native Gaming. Tappin's last alive. He's going to challenge. Soul Snipe just buying time. Suppress gets that kill, and surely now, with Suppress dominating the respawners with that sniper rifle, it's going to be the final flag going in here. On the side of Shopify Rebellion, they hold up the challenge. They will win the game. They will win the series, but boy, did they have to work for it.
What a series between these two. 3-2 is your final score, and we hoped that game 4 would also go down to the wire. And my God, did it ever deliver. As you could just tell on the side of the stage at Native Gaming, there's a lot to think about, because if a few things go differently in just a few of those games, got my eyes on games 1 and 4. Could be a very, very different series result without a doubt. 3-2 is your final score in the end. Big numbers coming in from a few players. Suppressed actually crossing the 6,000 damage mark in that one as well. And Rebellion will win the series narrowly in the end in terms of the overall score of that game number 4.
Yeah, overall in the score, but when you look at a 3-1 and you were to offer that Shopify Rebellion, I think they'd be pretty happy with it.
At this stage, yeah.
100%, especially with how tightly contested every single one of those games was. The Halo World Championship isn't about how close the games are, it's about getting over the line. And that's exactly what Shopify do. And we mentioned how Pool C is going to be a wild one. That's series number 1 for you.
It has set the tone and the pace very well, not just for this pool, but for this entire tournament. Here's a look at your final games. Overall, as we said, Shopify takes it 3-1, but you could just tell by the margins, with the exception of that game 3, this one was very close indeed.
It certainly was indeed, and that I mean, you're looking at that game 4. The start that we saw from Native Gaming, tapping buttons with the overkill / kill-tacular, if you want to include the team kill that came off the back of it. It's good of you. I get it. But that kind of play is what you're going to expect over the next 3 days of action here in Seattle. And speaking of teams who played quite well, and speaking of players who look quite good in that series, we're going to go down to the main stage right now because Suppressed is there with Blaze.
Thank you so much, Onset and Brav. Seattle, make some noise for Shopify Rebellion as they start this tournament off hot. I got the man himself, Suppressed, with me on the main stage. Suppressed, how do you feel to kick champs off with a win here on the stage and to be able to get this with your team?
It feels good, you know, getting our first dub on land, you know, trying to get the jitters out, so, you know, first match of the day.
Definitely did, okay? Like, you know, very few jitters right there, but there was some scary moments in this series, okay? You know, now, scrimming these guys, you haven't lost a map to them, but you lose that first Slayer, okay? Now, after y'all lost that Slayer and it was 1-1, were you guys able to shake that one off, or did you have any worries after that?
Yeah, I mean, Plaza is just like a dice. Honestly, when you have Shock and Snipe, you know, you can turn their game around, so we weren't too worried about that. It was a 50-45.
Okay.
You know, we lost pretty tight, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Bounce back.
Definitely did kind of fight back towards the end of that one. Now, let's go ahead on fast forward to the game 4. That second flag that you guys stopped on the Mohawk, okay? It's a big difference than having to fight back down 2-0 versus it being 1-1. Talk to me, how did you feel when the boys made that stop, and how did y'all rally back for the win?
We had a game plan there, actually. We wanted to push our snipe. We pushed, I believe it was tapping. We had sniper, and I believe I picked them off under our bridge. And then there was another guy top right, and they were just like rotating towards snipe and trapping themselves there. So we knew we had a chance as soon as he was wrapping all the way snipe with the flag. So there was a chance there when we had snipe.
Hey, it definitely was a chance, and that chance came out with a win. 3-1 victory for you guys. Lastly, anything you want to say to the Shopify fans out there? Because you guys got a sick booth in the back of the venue.
Yeah. I just want to thank our Shopify fans, you know, everyone here supporting us. Yo, go visit our booth, man. It's pretty sick. We have Halo 2 there as well.
Yep.
Couch, it's pretty chill. So.
It is sick. Go check out the Shopify Rebellion booth. That's going to do it for me and Suppressed on the stage. Lot, take us away.
Pure vibes on the stage there from Suppressed and Blaze for sure. Just unbelievable stuff. And he is right. The Shopify booth is stunning. You guys, if you are in the venue, please do go check it out. It is very, very cool, very drippy. But Drippy was the name of the game for Shopify Rebellion. My goodness. Some of the things happening already this morning are crazy. That Insta-Splode as well. Just mind-blowing, stunning. Plays being made. There's just one name that I have to just get out of my system right now because it's on my mind, but Cycle was just so good yet again. We talked about this kid. We actually talked about him with Suppress's duo on the main stage. He was such a standout in this series. Not only just the clips, the shots he was hitting, but the room he makes for his team. He opens doors and he doesn't shut them, Clutch.
Yeah, in a series that was probably a lot closer than Shopify expected, Cycle needed to be great in order to get this team out of a situation where they find themselves in a game 5, which you never want to find yourself in this early on in the tournament. And Cycle was great. Every single time it was on the screen, the shot was smooth. But most of all, just playing his life and his awareness is so important and so powerful. I love watching Cycle's point of view every single time we get an opportunity to see it. And he picked up a massive double to stop this game 4 from going 2-0 in Native's favor early on, and because he gets that double, it would change the entire pace of how that game was going.
It certainly did. There were so many moments where you just kind of came to the rescue. You're thinking that Native are doing what they need to do to get these objectives in, and suddenly Cycle is just there being an absolute pain in your back. Tony, on the other side though, Native, they were looking really good. I mean, there were some incredible moments. We had Gilkey on the OS multiple times, really making that power-up work and last for his team. There were huge ins for Native. How are you feeling about their gameplay? Because that was really close.
Yeah, I mean, I was really proud of Native Gaming, especially when it came to individual performances. That game number 1, I thought tapping buttons was fantastic.
Yeah.
APG was very good. That game number 2 as well. And then obviously, dude, tapping's an animal, but on the other side of things, you gotta highlight Cycle. 70 kills, most kills on his team, least amount of deaths, most damage, and the one thing that doesn't show, you know, I love my assist. most assists in the team as well. That is just impressive. He's literally doing it all in the kill, assist, and damage department.
He certainly is. I think, you know, there's a lot to be said there for Shopify Rebellion, but I think it also is a statement about native gaming. You're also looking across here, Barcode with a 1.23 in a series where his team lose out. Barcode was really good there. He kept his team alive in multiple moments. I mean, going back to game 1, the double kills that he was getting for his team, he had no business getting. If Forbidden, staying alive at moments as well, where you're thinking, wait, how is he not dead? Where is he? To the back of the base, getting a back smack, getting a kill to try and open and create some room for his team likewise as well. Barcode was a superstar there.
Absolutely. That game 1 is something Native is going to go back and know when they rewatch it that it slipped through their fingers. That was a very winnable game, and if they had been able to pull off a couple of those hills that went down to the last kill in a lot of the situations, then they could have found themselves having the advantage going into that game 4, and momentum at least pushes you to a game 5 at that point. Barco played lights out. When you look at those stats, though, it was Gilkey that kind of had the worst series out of the players on his team, and that's the guy you need to step up. That was the guy I said, if Native are going to be able to pull off this upset, that was the player that needs to play great. Gilkey, unfortunately, things weren't going his way whenever it was on the screen. That Insta, you know, Gilkey's thinking this guy's one shot, all I have to do is wait this plasma out. That Insta taking him out actually changed the outcome of the entire series because they got double snipe control. Gilkey's going to be kicking himself, but if Native can get something out of Gilk, they're going to show a lot of promise in the rest of the pool play and then going into bracket play as well.
Promise is exactly that. I think for Native, all you need to do is polish up on a couple of those openers. When you have that door open, capitalize on it. Do something with it. Don't close it back again on the rest of your team. But incredible stuff from both of them. Shopify Rebellion looking strong in their pool, kicking things off with a 1-0. Cloud9 also got the better of Dark Inside as well in Pool C. So, Tony, I'm coming over to you because this was the wild card pool. How are you feeling now with how things are shaking out?
I mean, it's kind of what I expected. I said it before. It really is that wild card pool. It really is unpredictable. Obviously, Shopify Rebellion are the favorites, but how many times have we been talking about Cloud9 really started to catch fire later in the year? Native Gaming, top 6 last event. And Dark Inside, I promise you, obviously losing out that matchup against Cloud9, they still are a threat in this pool. So really, I can make a good argument for anybody in this pool making it out through the winner's side going into bracket play.
Yeah, I think also we saw earlier on some of the other streams a couple of kind of strange things occurring. I mean, FaZe right now as well, fighting for their life in their first match, first series against our LATAM team as well. You know, a little bit of a rusty, kind of sleepy start for the FaZe roster. I know that they just won the oddball, so they're in game 5, but you don't expect to see that against the first seed and the 4th seed, considering they have questionably the easiest pool here.
Yeah, not where you want to be if you're FaZe, but if you manage to find a way to win that game 5, at least you've been pushed the distance early on in a series and you kind of were forced to wake up. A team that has gone to game 5 with teams that they probably shouldn't have in the past. We'll see how that game 5 goes before we make any further comments.
Indeed. All right, no further comments then. Folks, we're going to head to a quick break. When we come back, though, we have another absolute banger of a series. It's a historic revenge match. Optic versus Quadrant, lighting up your stage right after this.
The 2024 Halo World Championship is presented by AMD.
I've got you.
Bro, what are they showing? Holy moly.
At that moment, but it is one of my favorite moments because it was drama heavy in that second. We've seen crazier things happen, especially on hill. You can be in a hill with 0 seconds on the clock and get it done. Depending on how your team are performing, if you've got people on a spawn cycle, whatever the position may be, it is a terrifying situation to be in. And I think every single one of those Optic boys knew that in that moment. They were listening to the music off, they were excited, and suddenly it was like, oh no, hold on, a little bit of a problem, but they managed to get it done. They're very resilient, and it was a pretty crazy moment, wasn't it, Wes?
Yeah, there's two sides to that, right? There's Optic Gaming, a little bit of a pre-celebration, but they end up getting the pop-off, well-deserved, because they were the best team at that tournament. They are the 2022 World Champions. And what a moment that was for those guys. But when you panned out to the end of that video, it went straight to Bound, Eco, and Stellar, guys that have been on fire and are the favorite to win this tournament. And the looks of depression on their face when they realize that their final chance at that World Championship slipped through their fingers. Now, this is a tournament that they can redeem themselves, that they can finally find themselves champions, world champions in Halo Infinite. And that is a moment, I guarantee you, when they see that, it fires them up even more for this tournament.
I'm sure it does. We'll have to find out who is going to be lifting that trophy by the end of the weekend. But if you do have some of your favorite moments across the 10 years that we've had the HCS, please do share it with us. Hashtag HaloWC. Now, on to the next series on the main stage, and it's going to be Optic versus Quadrant. So we do have a chance to look at those 2022 World Champs in action here at your current World Championships. Now, starting things off with Optic Gaming Clutch. How important is it to see a full strength Optic right out of the gate, especially because they're in the pool of death?
Yeah, this pool is no joke. So Optic, having lost the complexity in pool play the way they did 3-0 fashion at SLC, you know that they don't want to go down that road again, even though it ended up being okay, like I said. This is something that Optic need to start off on the right foot for in order to just prove to themselves that they can once again call themselves world champions. These guys have put in so much work, and there's so much mystery around, can this team get the job done? I think that they want to convince their fans and give them a reason to celebrate and have hope later on in this weekend.
We talk about the pool of death, and we just saw the formal point of death. And that's something Quadrant don't want to be seeing. But Tony, looking across the rest of the roster, you know, they have lined up against Quadrant numerous times now. Who tends to step up against Quadrant when it matters most?
And that's actually what I find to be very interesting about this Optic versus Quadrant rivalry, because normally you expect your firepower to come from Formal and Lucid. Like the year that they've had have been incredible, but it's actually the objective mind of the support players, Trippy and Dead Zone, specifically Trippy, a 1.10 KD whenever he goes up against Quadrant. When they play Capture the Flag, a 1.55 KD. He really steps it up. I guess that's why we call him Big Game Trip.
That's exactly why we call him Big Game Trippy, and he's going to have some big games here in this World Championship. You know, we've seen a lot of Optic versus Quadrant as of late, but it has been very different from the past history that we've seen with a Quadrant roster, including Legend on it. Are we seeing maybe a transition with this brand new Quadrant roster? Are you feeling like there is some growth there that might just kind of rebuttal what we've seen from past rosters and past versions of Quadrant?
I would have to say yes. I think the key piece, the key player that I look at when I look at this Quadrant roster, and are they going to go toe-to-toe with the likes of Optic Gaming? I'm looking at Glory. He has been a pleasure to watch play throughout this year. He has really grown as an individual player, and he has been the guy that has made the plays for this team when they have had moments of success. Quadrant have had an up and down year, however, and in all honesty, they haven't reached the goals and the strides that they did with Legends, so they're still trying to figure out ways to climb throughout a bracket. What an opportunity this could be for these guys to put themselves in such a prime position to have the best tournament of the year yet at a World Championship.
Indeed, and you know, moving on to Quadrant West, you mentioned Glory there. He really is a Mr. Duel. I think, you know, really deep diving into kind of what he does for this team, it really is everything. He's not only just a main slayer, but he manages to get what needs to be done across the board. And we talk about efficiency. Look at this guy. I mean, he is phenomenal, and he's a key part to this team.
Yeah, first. I say he's doing his part. when it comes to the statistical category. And every time you watch a screen, it's no doubt that a lot of these numbers make sense because he's always active. He's always making plays, progressing on the map, filling in holes, playing efficient. I mean, I love what I see from his point of view. He plays great Halo. And for a kid that hasn't been playing Halo nearly as long as a lot of the people sitting next to him or on the other side of the stage, for him to sometimes and even be the best a lot of the times on his own team, that's a very impressive stat sheet he's put up.
Yeah, I got to say, I have been just so impressed with Glory as of recent this season. He has been incredible. I can't wait to see what he does against Optic. But Quadrant is certainly going to know the weight of this series. This is no joke. When you go up against Optic Gaming, they are always going to give you 100%. And they also know that Quadrant are a really good team. So you're going to be seeing a very feisty Optic Gaming. Tony, what is the most important map in this series for Quadrant going into it?
For me, it's still that game number 2 when you go up against Optic Gaming. It's really important because it's the Slayer. Right now, Optic's weakest game mode is Slayer. They were 6-5 back at SLC. I think they're 6th overall in the entire league in that Slayer, where although Quadrant aren't the best as far as that game type, it is seemingly a weakness for Optic that you have to exploit. So for me, it's that game 2 Slayer, and if you're gonna beat Optic, it's gonna go to a game 5, so same thing. You gotta win the Slayers.
It certainly will, and we're looking at this incredible graph here, which I love this addition, I think, to our table here. And Clutch, looking across it, things look like they're gonna get pretty dicey. This series layout is looking pretty good evenly for both of them. So I'm excited to see what happens, but for Optic Gaming, where do you think that they really take the cake here against Quadrant?
It's gotta be the Forbidden CTF. 4-1 and probably the best CTF team we have on the circuit, in my opinion. Optic Gaming plays such strong. The definition of quality Halo is in your CTFs, I think, as I judge a team. And I think Optic Gaming lead the league in CTFs. I know SSG might statistically look better at it, but the way that Optic go about the strategy of their capture the flags is near perfection in my eyes. If this series goes to a game 4 and Optic have the lead, I expect them to close the door on it right there.
I certainly do indeed. As somebody we're also seeing on camera right now, we haven't mentioned yet, but we will mention, I'm sure, across the entire weekend, is Formal. Now, Formal, what a season he has had. Yes, hasn't been the placement he wanted. Not a bad placement, though. Second.
Not his fault.
Consistently, exactly my point. Not his fault at all. He's been so good for his team. I mean, if we're seeing all 4 of these players really step up to the mark, including somebody like Formal, this could be a really good ride. I mean, just looking at them at their best, Clutch, they are so hard to stop.
Yeah, I think you're getting the best out of Formal so far this year. He has been the best player on this team, and that is tough to do along the like side of Dead Zone, Trippy, and Lucid. All of those guys I expect to pick up the game and play at a high level. I think Formal, as long as he can consistently play like he did at SLC, and you get a little bit more from the rest of Optic Gaming, they're going to call themselves world champions at the end of this weekend. They looked so strong, even going through the winners bracket. I mean, they beat every single top team to do so, and it was on the back of Formal having one hell of an event, if not probably the best individual performance through that winners bracket run I've seen in a long time.
So much of this we've already actually discussed because you two are just elite at your jobs. But like we're seeing here with our keys to victory, I mean, so important to get out the gates hot here for Optic Gaming. Make a statement. You lost to Complexity last time that we saw you, and it was pretty difficult, but you managed to bounce back. You had quite the journey in order to do so. Pool play, yeah, didn't quite go to plan, but you ended up on the winner's side of things. How important, Clutch, is this going to be for them if they manage to really whitewash every single team here and also have their preferred journey?
How important is it? If I'm Optic Gaming, I'm expecting to win every Series 3-0 in my pool. I'm expecting to go to the winner's bracket with the 1 seed. Obviously, SLC was a completely different story with a lot of different variables going through to make that a little bit more difficult of a road. But once they got the winner's bracket, they were the Optic Gaming we know. I don't think we're going to learn a lot about Optic Gaming up until they go against Shopify, FaZe, or SSG. And when that series is scheduled, it's going to be probably late Saturday night. And when those lights are bright and we see Optic come out on top, then you have a reason to truly believe that this Green Wall team is going to compete for a championship this weekend. I have no doubt that they will find themselves in that spot. I'm just waiting for it.
I will say the one thing that did worry me a little bit on the side of that Optic roster when I saw that graphic is normally Optic are ranked 3rd in the league as far as map #1 game modes. No matter what the game type, no matter what the map is, they start off hot. At SLC was a little bit different though. They were 4-4 when you saw that graphic, and that to me, I feel like that needs to turn around because, like you said, we're gonna judge them when they go up against those phases, go up against those SSGs, and I really feel like they're gonna have to start those series hot.
I would argue that that stat's a little bit skewed. I mean, we can take the pool play and understanding all the variables they were fighting there,
right,
and understand that those were a lot of the game 1s that they lost. The other game 1s that they probably are losing are against the likes of SSG and FaZe, because they played SSG probably 3 times that tournament, FaZe once that tournament. That's a completely different stat when you're putting those teams in that category rather than like game 1s over as a whole against the Cloud9s of the world, no disrespect, the Alpha Esports of the world, no disrespect. But I think Optic are still going to be able to start series out strong, even with that kind of a skewed SLC graphic, just because when they were in winners bracket round 1, they had to play a 1 seed because they came out 2nd. So their bracket was stacked, and they're always playing against a good team.
And that's why we have you up here, Clutch, because we need context, and you bring that context. And I'm going to bring you guys some context right now with what's happening in our pools, because behind the scenes, as you see, starting out strong, as Clutch mentioned, FaZe 1-0 in their pool, but that wasn't quite the story. Looking upon these numbers, these very simple numbers here, wasn't so simple to get up there. I mean, is it a cave? A cave? A cave?
A cave?
Oh, okay. Totally wrong. Totally wrong.
Usually
okay.
I can't pronounce things, so this is a moment that I'm going to take.
I'm just going to blame my British accent on that, Tony.
I will say, I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to that Agave Esports roster, because they were formerly going by Alpha Esports. And SLC, they got that 3-0 over Sentinels. They matched up against Complexity pretty well and was 1 series away from getting to top 6, now pushing FaZe. So want to give a shout out to Lure and the boys. Keep doing your thing. You're getting better and better.
Amazing stuff. Well, the stage is set up in green because it's that historic matchup. Optic Gaming versus Quadrant. Let's meet your teams.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the HCS World Championship. I'm Golden Boy. You got Walshy on the call here. Seattle, let's wake up. How you feeling today? I like it. I like a little bit of the energy. It's Friday. You know what I mean? We'll take it a little bit. We'll take it one step at a time. You know what I'm saying, Puppy? In any case, though, folks, we got Optic Gaming going up against Quadrant here. It's going to be an awesome matchup because we've seen these teams face off against each other time and time and time and time again. They've done it many times in the past. But Dave, this time around, you got a world championship on the line. You got a Quadrant roster that's looking to find themselves in an Optic Gaming team that really, really is trying to correct some wrongs at the biggest tournament of the year.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Optic start off slow last tournament. You can't afford or want to be in that position here at the World Championship.
Well, let's go ahead and jump right into the action and start things off with Formal. Let's see what we can manage to put together over here as we're going to be starting things off. Of course, we got ourselves some King of the Hill to begin the clash between Quadrant as well as Optic Gaming here. Formal and just gingerly walking across to grab that sniper rifle. He's going to be chilling over toward the tower side. He does see someone tucked away inside of the green area there, but they're playing for that camo, Dave. They're waiting for that to come up here so that they can take advantage.
Well, I just favor that camo, but the fact that Formal and crew still in a great spot to contest it while they're scrapping
That was
time.
crazy.
Most times in the past, you see one team go for hill right away, the other team get the camo. But right here, Optic has gotten 60, 70% of this hill. I feel like this trade has worked out well in actually in Quadrant's favor. Sorry, colors were swapped up there a little bit. Confused me.
Yeah. That's, of course, Optic will be in the blue and Quadrant will be in the red. But it is important to note there that while all that was going on, we were talking about what had happened before. Formal got himself the sniper rifle. While that was going on, Quadrant chilling over toward the hill. Formal, hey guys, where are the players? Let's look over toward camo. Before you know it, he's dead. And that led to that first point there for Quadrant. A strong start and a double kill, looking for the triple, but he can't find it. Trippy's going to stay alive, but Seek is there for the coverage.
And this is such a difficult position to be in if you're Optic. You're starting off a little slow. Quadrant, they're coming out hot. They're getting the initial kills, and you have to just win those fights. And sometimes there's not much you can do, especially when you get spawn sniped like that for dead zone.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a squeaker there. That one off. Call starting to come through here. See where that pressure is coming in. Bottom pillars. Seek is trying to join in on the action, and I'll have to give and abandon the site here for the time being because they need to wait for this push to come through. One big hit there. Trippy's going to be one shot, but he doesn't have any help. Seek to try and fight through this. Can he get the next shot? But instead, it's not going to come through. Now Seek is going to find himself surrounded. He's got to get out of there, but he cannot. He's not able to do so because he was surrounded. But let's see how Quadrant can try and follow up here. But of course, Optic Gaming shutting them down. 2 down presently.
And Lucid showing a little bit of life here while his team is struggling a little bit. He's at least able to throw on 6 kills on the board, give his teammates some breathing room. Somehow Optic having a chance at getting the second hill, which is impressive considering how heavily outslayed they were leading into this.
Yeah, Lucid trying his best to get away from that. He's got the QT, Quantum Translocator. He can go ahead and bail out of those fights. 2 players down there for Quadrant.
Also, I like that play by Lucid. He waits till he's over towards tower to pop that QT. Since the hill is all the way over at tower side, him actually QTing back towards back green is a detriment to him and his team. So if you want to bring that over towards the side, he was able to get that all the way to back tower. I like that.
Yeah, and this is, of course, through that play and many others, Optic Gaming are in a position to be able to score this one, put their first on the board. It was a good progress gained by Quadrant, but instead it's going to be Optic who tie things up 1-1.
All right, Formal start off the match with the sniper. Let's see what he can do now that we're mid-match. Gets a little help from his teammate Dead Zone. They're able to pick off that kill on Sika onto the plat. That's going to be 3 down for Quadrant.
Now you're starting to see Optic Gaming begin to wake up a little bit. You were hearing the desk earlier talk about what were going to be the win cons, what were going to be the situations that Quadrant would find success. And, you know, you don't want to sugarcoat things too much here. Quadrant's certainly going to be climbing an uphill a battle here against Optic Gaming, a team that has finished second place in pretty much every single tournament. They are a damn good team, but if you are Quadrant, you're going to need to try and pick up the series in 5 because Optic have just the ability to turn things on quickly. And just when you think, hey, things are looking really good at the early outset of the game, Optic's right back in it.
Yeah, it looks so good kicking off this match, but then all of a sudden just feels like Optic, like you said, woke up, and that's just in the matter of a few minutes. So things are starting to look stronger and stronger here, especially as you see Dead Zone pick up that double kill.
Yeah, and look at the way that they're also just continuously pressuring, right? You got a player that's engaging in a fight, waiting for the aggression to come in from Quadrant on the big door side, and then you have some more attention happening over towards top sandbags. It's those plays like that that Optic Gaming, they play together so well, and they're so effective. Great sticks to send him packing, and he's going to QT right out of there.
I feel like that's the new play we're going to be seeing this tournament.
I love it.
That's the second time we've seen now somebody get a stick and then QT away. I believe we saw it from Cycle during the very first match.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing it from Dead Zone here from Optic.
Absolutely love it. All right, well, let's see now. Of course, and this is actually an interesting reposition here and a good spot for Dead Zone to be in because he's now going to be in a spot to, be prepared for the cave aggression. But nothing really is going to come through yet because you can see where Quadrant are positioning themselves. They want to try, get into big door, force their way in, and try and just herd Optic Gaming into a really bad, uncomfortable position. But the problem is, Optic wise to it. They know this push is going to be coming in, but they have to do it, Quadrant. They have to stop them here. They have no other choice. But every single time those players are one shot, you got a member of Optic, namely Formal, who creeps in, picks up the kill, gets the scraps, and there is nothing that Quadrant can do to stop this hold that Optic has right now.
Yeah, fantastic defense from Optic there. You even saw Dead Zone trying to break through behind enemy lines, find that area of that chain that was open and couldn't find anything. He first tried to go over towards Nest side.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't stop there. Went over towards Bags, completely stopped. He kept trying to find a flank to basically round in behind the members of Quadrant. And it was just no possible opportunity.
Yeah, well, there is an opportunity now for Quadrant here because they managed to get themselves back on, but is it going to be enough, though, especially with Lucid with his camo right at the front door? He's also got help outside, too, and they do not see where that camo guy is. Pressure now starting to come in for the green walls. They're looking to get right into the face of Quadrant here. Oh, but look at SLG holding his own at that door, just trying to prevent them from being able to come in. Trippy with the big connection, able to get the kill. That's going to be the second point for Optic Gaming, and they do it in the fight.
Wow, and just that calm play there from all those members of Optic. Sure, there was a little bit of jitters as they're fighting through and such, but nobody overcommitted towards there. You saw Lucid just back and forth from the scoreboard, laying down shots, eventually opening a spot for Trippy to push on through, get the last kills, and scoop up that time.
And they do so expertly. But now, does Quadrant wait? Can't grapple that. He was holding W so, well, I was saying W for me, but he was holding forward on the joystick so much so he can try and stop that momentum. But in any case, though, they're going to lose that sniper rifle, Quadrant. But Optic won't gain it, so that is going to be a little bit of a, light at the end of the tunnel there for Quadrant here. They have managed to get a decent amount of time on this hill, too. So remember, this is where, things can get really, really dicey if Quadrant aren't careful. And also another thing of note too, and you're probably wondering to yourself, well, no one's really going into the hill right now. What's the situation? When you look at the time, remember when you're in the hill, the time ticks down. We saw on SLC a lot of teams really banking on the time, getting them the win, Walshy, and even at the warm-up tournament too. So you can kind of see shades of that happening here a little bit, but they just want to drain the clock just a little bit with this lead they have.
A little bit, but I think it was just more if they didn't have the numbers on the field.
Yeah.
And it was a situation where they don't want to give up a sense of control in the spot. In order for Optic to actually come back into this third hill here, they're going to need to get 3 or 4 down from Quadrant and jump in. But
yeah, and that's a good point there too, because one thing that I didn't know while I was yapping was that, you had Quadrant that were just going in there, getting more garbage time, So now at this point, you got Quadrant tying this up 2-2. Optic certainly, and to your point, Dave, put in a position where they could not be effective to get in to the objective to stop Quadrant. Now you go to the middle, and this is where the war begins, because these guys are going to be jockeying back and forth, and that time is going to tick down.
Yeah, this one's going to likely be the decider. But we'll see. Also, when this does move back over towards green, that one you can hide in through the bottom of green, avoid shots across the map, and avoid grenades too well, but you get the point. It's a safer hill if we do get to the 6th hill.
3 down right now for Quadrant. It's going to give Optic Gaming an opportunity to get into that hill, gain themselves some more time. Good use of the spiker there, too, to prevent that player from pushing inside of the sneaky, and then he had the help, too. That was really well played. And Optic continued to maintain control inside of this, and I really do like the way that Dead Zone's using the brute grenades as kind of like a door stopper, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all those factors that go into a fight when you're in Halo. They're able to throw that grenade there, take cover on this spot. It's just also just buying time. Yeah. In a situation like that, Dead Zone isn't trying to lay down as many shots as fast as possible. He's saying, what can I do to buy an extra half second, buy an extra second or 2, so his teammates can come over and help finish off the fight?
Yeah, because that extra half second can be everything. And look at where things are right now on the scoreboard. Big kill there for Sika. He got Trippy in the secret. He actually gets that stop. Formal's going to still be inside. Massive snipe there from Formal. Only one more tick, and that is going to do it. 3 points for Optic Gaming. But remember, game's not done yet. 1:35 left on the clock. We're going over to that green hill there. And very important to note, this is where Quadrant started things off hot at the beginning of this one.
Not gonna lie, I almost feel like Optic could just be pressuring the time here in this one. And that, I mean, jumping in the hill. It's almost quicker for them to grab time and have that win condition rather than just outslaying throughout the side. But we're gonna have to see how this one plays out.
Yeah. 4 shots there for Formal to use. Waiting to see where that push is going to be coming in from Quadrant. They're talking about it. How we're going to make this happen.
Looks like they revert towards that. Optic instead decide that the clock is going to tick down faster if they just jump in. This also puts down a little extra pressure onto Quadrant. Yeah. So Quadrant take too long through some of their flanks and say, all right, we got a minute 10. We just need to get control. Now they take extra time through the flanks. Optic can actually end the game quicker, and that's exactly what they're going for.
Yeah, well played there by Optic Gaming. They are going to get themselves the camo 2 in a sec here. Dead Zone with a double kill off screen will get himself that objective. And I think at this time, when you look at the economy of what you have, whether it's the power items, the power weapons, you got to side with Optic Gaming here. Quadrant need a miracle to be able to break out of this one, but it's going to be so difficult for them to do so as the time continues to tick on down. And I think Quadrant has conceded that they cannot break through, and Optic Gaming will pick up map 1 in this best of 5 series.
Great plays there by Optic, and I like the fact too that they don't go with just answer a sunken cost fallacy and just go by the very first decision that was made. They're not just to say, all right, we said we have to play time. I think they started to wait it out for a second and say, actually, you know what? We don't have to play time here. We have a minute and a half on the clock. It's going to only take us 30 seconds to grab this hill. Might as well do that and put the pressure against Quadrant.
Yeah, and that is exactly how you do it if you are Optic Gaming. It was a slow start for the green wall, without a doubt, but Quadrant really put the pressure on them early on in this map. And Optic Gaming kind of got caught looking a little bit at that first hill because of how things had played out. But then after that, it was Optic Gaming's control. That was the story of this map. It never felt like Quadrant had an opportunity to get back in. And I don't even know if they got the slays, if they felt like they were comfortable enough to be able to succeed in some of these hills that have been quite detrimental to them.
Yeah, just looking through some of these highlights, you'll notice, especially early on, you saw quite a few Quadrant highlights. And then as the game went through, as control started to skew towards the side of Optic, started to see quite a few finishes from their POVs. Dead Zone getting that final kill as his teammates grabbed the hill.
They had everything you could possibly want toward the tail end of that one. So that locks up a 4-2 finish for Optic Gaming. King of the Hill live fired now. This is where the series is going to get a little interesting here, people, because you saw that beautiful bar graph before. And if there's one thing we love in video games, it's bar graphs. And you may have noticed that you see Quadrant doing all right in games 2 and 3. Statistically speaking, of course. That is going to be where you're looking for Quadrant to try and eke out this win, especially in the Slayer Solitude game here, Dave. This is a great opportunity for Quadrant to really put their stake in the series, show that they can compete, especially at this highest level. We know that they can. There goes that bar graph. Look at that.
Yeah. We also see a bit of
very good at mathing.
You know, it's always tough sometimes to judge these top teams, someone like Optic, their win-loss records, because you start to think through their tournament runs. You know, they're second every single event. They're losing a lot of these to a FaZe in the finals, an SSG in the finals. They're losing this maybe as they get swept or lose in pools. Like there's all these sort of like upsets because people have been studying them and targeting them. You still have to consider that Optic aren't bad at anything. Yes, there's stuff that they are statistically better at, but they're never just gonna be bad. Like this isn't gonna be a rollover game that Optic are gonna lose. Like this could very well be Optic win 50-40.
Yeah, very, very likely, right? But on the flip side to that too, right? Slayer gives you a unique opportunity to very much get yourself back into this series here, right? We have seen teams in the past that may not be able to put it together in the objective. They do find that success in the Slayer side of things. But to your point, Dave, it is gonna be freaking hard to do that against Optic Gaming, a team that, yes, statistically, you might have a little bit of an advantage, but you know, the intangibles of it all are very, very much different. So it's gonna be a difficult one for Quadrant, without a doubt, to try and break through here. But you're going to be leaning on the likes of Glory. You're going to be leaning on, you know, Snipe Drone, right, to really be the ones that pick up, you know, those slays for Quadrant and really keep them in this one.
Absolutely. Name of the game is Slayer coming up here. And you got to say, Solitude's also pretty snowbally. There's so many times where a team can get that full setup, get control of the center of the map, hold on to that shock rifle, hold on to the camo.
I really, really want them to get that snipe into Snipe Drone's hand as soon as they possibly can. Really play for that. Put him in a position where he can thrive. I think might be a recipe for success for Quadrant. But for Optic Gaming, though, I expect them out of the gate to just really, really get up in Quadrant's face and not let them feel comfortable, especially after walking away with that 4-2 finish on live fire strongholds. And a strong 3-0 start here for Optic Gaming would be everything for them, especially considering how things panned out in SLC at the early starts of the tournament here. But here we go. Start things off. And I mentioned before, wanting to see Quadrant get control of that snipe side of the map, get those power weapons online, and that's exactly what they're trying to accomplish here. But you got to watch out for the power item up above too, right?
One thing I was also really impressed there with Luce at the very start is just how cautious he was with his life. Because one thing I always look at when I'm seeing a Slayer game early on compared to towards the end of the game is how loose are people with their lives. Early on, people are like, yeah, I'll charge around, I'll try to make this play happen. And then later on, people are like, I don't want to misstep by just 1 inch here. I just need to like back down, play super scared, super safe.
Yeah, and there's always that potential that you probably are playing a little too safe, you know, and that ends up biting you.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of like this mix on the early end of the game. A lot of times you're playing more aggressive than you should. Later on, you're playing too cautious.
Yeah, exactly. Formal took a sweet time for that one. One shot at Snipe Drone too, so you might be able to get picked up quickly here. Continuing to lay down some shots. Snipe Drone's still alive, but he finally is going to get wiped out there. That's going to be 8-2 for Optic Gaming, and again, a very, very strong start. Not what you want to see if you are a Quadrant fan.
Yeah, we're going to see how Formal decides to play this last shot.
He's just patrolling.
Yeah, just pushing over, and does he just shoot this and then play it, or is there just a... Yeah, we'll figure out what it does with that shock rifle. But maybe he doesn't even want to bother with that, since obviously we have all those members of Quadrant in the center of the map.
Yeah.
Right here, it feels like Formal's kind of been not a factor whatsoever. Like, there's times where Lucid and Dead Zone are fighting over at Cafe and Market.
Yeah.
And he has not been in the center of this map, as he's just been kind of roaming around after he's lost the shock.
Yeah, and while that was going on, right, you had an 8-2 lead there at one point for Optic and Quadrant, and Quadrant have been able to chip away at it little by little. Now they're within striking distance. You got 3 kills and very much in the series here. So for Optic Gaming, it's just about playing that keep away and leaning on some of those, you know, more prolific slayers on your squad to try and pick up those dubs where they are present there. And look at Trippy, really just preventing them from being able to get comfortable, get back into the fight there against him. But while all that was happening, though, Quadrant, they are 1 kill away. I was going to say tied, but now they are 1 kill away yet again from being able to tie this one up.
I mean, that's bad news here if you're an Optic fan. The fact that you saw Formal go on a killing spree with that, have a massive lead, but the second that shock rifle is off the map and not in the hands of Optic, the game ties up instantly. That changed over the course of about 30, 45 seconds.
Snipe Drone doing an excellent job of calling things out, but gotta be mindful though, because there was a player behind him. He's able to pick that up. It was Trippy. Saw that earlier on. Dead Zone's not gonna be stuck in a really bad position. Might get cleaned up any second now, which is gonna happen courtesy of SLG. Look at this juke.
Oh my God.
Absolutely love it. Oh man, they ended up just sending every single grenade that they had available to them to just wipe them out. If you can't shoot them, blow them up. That's what I say.
That was such a great play there. Just realizing he did not want to get hit once, give up his camo, and does not get within melee range. However, in most cases there too, you see a lot of players just instantly go for that 2-shot melee and just say, all right, someone finish up my 1-shot. Sometimes when you're spotted, you're spotted. But we now have ourselves a 1-kill lead here for Quadrant, thanks to the 10 and 5 efforts here of Glory.
I could tell Glory really wanted to get out of dodge in that one. He had an intention to probably jump up to the snipe, but just did not have the space to do so, and the pressure was coming in big time here from Optic Gaming. And now it's going to be SLG's time to strike with this shock rifle. What can they do with it here? They have plenty to work with, but SLG's got to get away from this fight. He keeps himself alive in this one. Massive win for him to just keep himself in this fight. But Dead Zone gets a double kill off screen with a sticky?
Double sticky, I'm guessing.
Okay.
But it also almost looked like the sticky was on both their screens. So I don't know if he had 2 stickies back to back, or if that's just what happens when you get that stick. And oh my God, triple kill for SLG.
Give it!
He get it!
Give it! Overkill for SLG, baby! Locks it up. That's going to be a 4-kill lead, and my man is just out there looking for those kills.
Just flying across, and the way he's been maneuvering across the map has been so impressive. He's not just taking the most safe route every single time, but he is taking a safe route. Like, he's not just cautiously going around cover every single time. He's moving from one point of cover to another point of cover. If he gets shot, he's able to duck, dodge, and go different directions.
The 5 Ds of dodgeball. You already know it. Shout out to Patches O'Houlihan. What a legend. Being said, though, 4 kills. Going to be the difference. Optic Gaming started this one off so nicely, but it can really run away from you in a heartbeat if you are not careful. So for Quadrant, they got that mid-game, burst that really allowed them to be able to get back into this. But now this is where you got to play some smart Halo.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, do they need to get control of that shock rifle again? Do they need to slow it down? One thing I'm looking at from the stats screen is, consider that Formal earlier on in the game had that killing spree. Throughout the rest, outside that killing spree, he's gone 1 and 6.
Yeah, that's true. Damn. And certainly not what you would come to expect from Formal, who has been just touted as just an absolute slaying machine for good reason. Performing so admirably throughout the season here. Big battle here for Snipe Drone. Can he win it against Trippy? But the health's coming in there. He's able to get his pound of flesh, but Dead Zone does push right in there to be able to pick him up. There's going to be another player there lingering about too, that by the posters. Dead Zone made the identification for it. Sika, not much he could handle in that one, but it's still going to be Quadrant keeping themselves in the lead in this one ever so slightly by 1 kill.
Just back and forth here. We're gonna have to see what happens as these new power weapons pop up on the map. Is this camo gonna be a difference maker? Sometimes it is. As we saw in SLC, camo was basically a death mark.
Yeah, it really was, man. Maybe that'll be the case here today, or it could have been us. We could be cursed. I don't know. Snipe Jones, though, does manage to get possession of that camo. I called it out earlier. Want to see this guy pop off in this series, and so far he's been doing relatively all right, but he's been winning the battles that matter, and those are the battles that matter there, especially when you're up 43-41 with only 2 kills, and you have to pick up those critical victories. Kind of like what we're seeing right here. Big battle now, but those bullets, they're disappearing. They're not connecting with Dead Zone, and somehow, some way, Dead Zone is still alive.
Both of them alive.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, round 2, you want to do it again? Gentleman's agreement.
Round 2, ready, fight.
And just gets obliterated there over in the loop, but these are all such tricky, difficult battles, especially when people are dropping down from that position. These players are back in a corner.
Glory, though. If there's a player you want to have the shock at that moment, it would have been him. And Formal knew that, which is why he removed that gun from his hands. He got 47-43. Quadrant have an opportunity to try and win this one out right here and now. But of course, for Optic Gaming, they're going to take a little bit more of a slow down approach and just play for positioning, wait this one out. Dead Zone wants to see if anyone is creeping across. He's made the calls too.
Yeah.
I think someone's posted.
Dead Zone's position is a little hidden. They don't know where he is at, and so you saw Formal going out and clear out the other area. Dead Zone in that position was basically setting a trap. He wasn't exactly trying to flank, but he's just setting the trap for the second that anyone tried to make a sneaky move in the bottom center of the map.
Kind of like that one, which literally just happened. As you said, Dead Zone now pushes right in. 2 kills here. Quadrant, they were playing a bit of a turtle game. They lose control of that shock rifle. 1 kill separates them. A few nades starting to fly in. Posters getting pressured on. Dead Zone, 1 shot, but that's going to be a tied game. A massive grenade there from Lucid. And if Optic Gaming managed to pick up this win, that will be demoralizing. But it very well might be the case here. 48-49, who's in a position to be able to get this kill? Feels like Dead Zone's been blinking for at least 5 years, but Formal's going to be sitting up on top. He got himself that camouflage. He's looking for an opportunity to be able to jump in here. He knows there's a chance for him to be Batman. Swoop in, maybe get himself a kill. They see him. They're running away from him. They're like,
don't know where he's at.
Oh my God!
How calm and collected do you have to be if you're Formal in that situation?
No freaking
So
way.
many times you see a player there. I also saw that grenade, that frag grenade rolling on the ground.
Yeah.
They did not see Formal, that's for certain, but the perfect listen out to the team comms, knowing exactly which player was the weak one.
Yeah.
Finishing off that player after seeing all 4 on your screen.
It was wild because he turns the corner. Everyone's like, run away, run away. So it would be easy to believe that they would have seen him in that situation, but no. Instead, Formal plays the calmest possible game that you can have. And it also just continues to shine how damn good he is, because Dave, you were pointing out how in that map he was struggling to be able to get going in the mid game, but for him to pick up like that right at the end, the moments that matter, that's all that really counts.
Yeah, he started off that one 5-0 and then comes out to the very end of the game to win it there for Optic Gaming.
This
also,
was a play
wouldn't surprise me
brought it back in.
If Quadrant didn't even know Camo was up, like with how chaotic and crazy some of those end situations are, that you're saying, let's just finish off the last person at LR or whatever.
And you know what too, actually, glad you mentioned that, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain Formal was perched on top of it. So the moment it populated, he would have grabbed it.
It was up.
So yes, they would have seen the countdown, but they would have seen it get grabbed immediately, and then they're like, okay, well, we don't have this, so what are we supposed to do here? And it's a 1-kill game. Very well done. Also, this battle was just wild. And then this shot from Formal, another
You're not
clutch kill.
expecting that. Like someone might round the corner and shoot you with a bandit or something there, but no, you don't expect to get shot from the shock rifle up close and personal like that over in the backyard.
Damn. Well played. Well played, Optic Gaming. It was looking a little tough there for a moment. SLG gave them some juice in that map too with that overkill. But it was Optic Gaming who squeaked through a 50-49 victory. And if you reflect on what we were talking about before on the desk, we were saying this Solitude Slayer game, massive one for Quadrant. They don't pick it up. Now it's their next chance, but it only gets harder from here, because in order for you to defeat the team that has been the runner-up of every major, of every big tournament, you got to pull off a reverse sweep right now on Friday here against one of the greatest teams to play the game right now. It's going to be really difficult for Quadrant to do so. The talent's there, but Optic want to close this one out cleanly.
Yeah, and nothing is telling me right now that Optic can't just do this right here.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's kind of their series to lose at this point. You usually see Optic sometimes putting themselves in the more difficult spot where they're 1-1 or down 1-2 in a series, and they have to do it again. They have to win Game 4, Game 5, come back, but they're in a comfortable spot. They're winning the close ones. Some of those are straight up point tosses at the end there. Purple could have got spotted out. Dead Zone could have got picked off from grenades at LR earlier. Like, just so many things could have gone slightly different.
Yeah, Dead Zone was one shot for at least a solid generation. So I would imagine that if someone had looked at one point in time, they would have been able to pick up the kill. But
I just don't know how Dead Zone dodged. They're not gonna do it now.
What if he's the one?
Ooh,
that could be the case. He could be the one. You know, I see a resemblance. In any case, though, the gaming now at a position to be able to get a clean sweep over a rival of theirs in Quadrant. And while this rivalry has been a bit more one-sided over the course of the last few events, it is certainly still fun to watch these two teams go at it time and time again at these major events. But something I did want to note too is, you know, you talk about how close this competition is. I mean, yeah, we're here, Halo World Championship. The best teams in the world are here playing for the lion's share of a massive prize pool and a chance to call themselves a world champion in their sport. So you better believe that everyone's bringing their A game here today. And I would expect Quadrant to go, if this is to be the one where they go out swinging in this particular series, which, you know, I don't want to believe that. I think there's an opportunity, a big opportunity they can come back and win it. Go out swinging, man. You know, you have no other choice. You might as well just take it down to the wire like you did in that Solitude Slayer game.
Taking a look at this series thus far and the slaying side, both these players on your screen, both +5 when it comes to kills versus deaths. But you also see a little bit of a different story when it comes to damage. SLG putting out over 10% more damage.
Good math.
Compared to Formal.
Wow, that was quick. I couldn't do that. I would have just been like, looks like 1,000.
I took a couple answers like over 10%.
Yeah, actually, that's
over
true.
10%.
It's 10%. You just picked an easy number and then you went for it. So I gave you credit for no reason. Yeah. Okay. There, you've been lying to me this whole time, Dave. I thought you were actually good at math. My goodness. All right. Well, let's see how Quadrant respond after going down 2-0 and a nail biter loss on Solitude Slayer, which you can see the frustration on Quadrant's face when that game ended. They needed it so desperately.
They win game 2. I feel like this series is, you know, obviously even if it would have been 1-1, I'd be like, this series is more of a coin flip.
The door's ajar now.
Yes.
You know, not wide open. There's a little bit of
the door right now, they're kind of knocking on like, yo, hey, come on, we're still coming back.
Yeah, right now, Optic closed the door. They haven't locked it yet. We really are honing in on this door reference. All right, here we go. Let's jump into the action now and see if Optic can close this one out. 3-0 over Quadrant. Can bring this back and respond to a reverse sweep here Friday at the Halo World Championship. SLG at the start is going to get himself a double kill. First one on that board, and he'll get himself that luscious camo to boot. He'll take himself another kill there too. So far, so good for Quadrant.
Double capping that B, realizing that they just need to hold this 2-cap setup here until they get some more control. And that's going to be 2 down, but let's see what SLG can do to answer it. Does not check the full corner there, and eventually does turn around to get that zone, though.
I was worried about that, because that would have been hilarious. Any case, though, now SLG, and I would imagine some of these calls were starting to come in here, but that shot missing is going to hurt a little bit here. Trying to send another one of those nades. He's got himself some support. Big clear there for Quadrant. That's going to win them the elevator side of the map. They have shock rifle control with a couple of shots in there, too, and a trip cap to boot. Quadrant starting off on strongholds with pretty much the way that we always expect them, hot on strong.
Also, this is similar to how game 1 started on King of the Hill. You saw Quadrant coming out so strong. You only saw 3 or so kills out of Optic, and they just answered right back and dominated that. But you don't really have the luxury of time here on Strongholds. The game moves just way too quick. If some team has a trip cap, this game can end in 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, even just look at the way the score is really starting to get out of hand here, but Optic are going to try and stop the bleeding, but they're blowing up right on that nade, so that is going to be a little difficult there to deal with. Glory, though, can't really deal with the players over toward B, and we should be getting a flip here for Optic toward A here any second now, because no one from Quadrant's going to be in the vicinity to be able to stop this. And, well, I say that, sends an A just for good measure.
Okay, stopping the bleeding. Now they just have to stop this next push here from Quadrant. Optic aren't going to get greedy. They're not going to force the trip cap, but they do want to get a few slays on the board, get themselves some breathing room.
Yeah, and also, too, let's not forget that that camel's going to be coming up in a few as well, which is now going to be available to grab, and that is going to be another Quadrant possession of this power item here, and it has played out quite nicely for them. It led to his control of this, the shock rifle, the shots he was putting forward, because let's not forget, he was hitting a lot of those shots with the shock. He has been doing some work.
Look at this reposition here from SLG. It was so well done. Once he realized he was in a one-on-one into the B batteries, didn't have that hill or stronghold very much captured, decides to bail and go back towards pipes and fight a brand new player. So he drew a player into one of the worst spots on the map, then went over to pipes to try to isolate a 1-versus-1. Didn't work out in the end, but that was the thought process.
Yeah. Intelligence for sure. SLG and players like him, and I mean, honestly, all the players on these teams, students of the game, constantly putting in that work. Here goes Quadrant again, back on the board here. They got A and B control, continuing to add on a little bit more to this massive win there for Formal, keeping himself alive over toward a double stack. He did everything he could in that one, but they had eyes on him, and now it's going to leave Lucid over towards Ziggy by himself.
That's tough. Look at that. Even though Formal won a situation where he was definitely at the disadvantage and down in shots, still, two other of his teammates fall back-to-back. You can just tell Quadrant are in such good control of the map right now.
Good battle rifle shots there. He knows exactly where Formal doesn't have the utility to try and move him from this batteries. And now that Formal's got himself that shock rifle, maybe he can put this one to good use. Optic Gaming have a lot of points to gain here against Quadrant with how things have been shaken out so far. 154 to 22, and it shows no sign of slowing down.
But 2 down. Now you know Optic can be flying across the map. Glory's just being a pest there. Somehow, Snipe Drone and Glory able to get the pick over towards Wheeler, which is actually incredibly surprising. Most times when you're down in a 2v4, you're just kind of hiding back.
Yeah. They were protecting across going toward A, and they knew that they were toward the gold side, so they had no other place to go, and they were able to get a few kills for that. It did not lead to them holding the hill for much longer, or the stronghold rather, but instead, it has actually led that whole situation to Optic Gaming getting their first camo of this one, and just as I say that, it is removed from the equation.
Yeah, somehow Snipe Drone just throwing that grenade out right before that second melee takes place and getting the trade onto dead zone. That's a huge, huge trade there, removing the camo out of Optic's hands. That was their first camo that they would have a chance to use.
Every time Optic go for a hill, the flip comes right in on the other side of the map, so Optic are going to need to get a good concerted push going to try and prevent Quadrant from being able to heat up the way that they have been in this map. But I mean, dude, Quadrant is all over them. Every single time you think that Optic are going to find their way back into this one, you learn why Quadrant are a great Strongholds team, because of the way that they play the map so effectively.
We're going to see Snipe Drone just patrolling over here. Just a couple more kills, and this one's almost guaranteed here. Optic really only have one push, because you gotta figure on this one push, they have to first stop the bleeding, and then secondly, somehow take over a second stronghold.
Yeah.
There is no time left on the board here for Optic. They gotta do it now.
Yeah.
And there looks like the push is coming towards C, but even now, Dead Zone's considering going towards B. You have to get 2 of these, so even though it's slowed down a little bit,
10 points.
It is about over.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Optic Gaming here. They're still gonna be up in the series, but Quadrant desperately needed this win. 5 points remaining here, and that could very well be all she wrote. They got to remove this player from the B hill. They managed to get the stop, and that is going to be forcing a map 4 unless Quadrant cannot stop Optic here. You got a lot of players in the green wall inside of batteries trying to prevent this here, but with 3 points remaining and now Optic on the board, it's Strongholds. Remember, there is still an opportunity for Optic to be able to win this, but it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, Optic would literally have to play perfect Halo here for 200 points, and that's just going to be a very tall order, a big ask. I don't really foresee that happening. It's going to take Quadrant to get one exchange where they come ahead and slays, and they'll grab one stronghold. But there's going to be an opening kill onto Formal. But SLG going to be grabbing.
Imagine.
I could imagine, but you know.
It ain't happening, but imagine.
It ain't happening.
Well, the flip's starting to come through over toward B and C, and that should very well be the end of this one, unless Optic have anything to say about it. Every single time I got a little ahead of myself, Optic answer right back, but this time ain't gonna happen. Quadrant stay alive in the series, and we're going to map 4.
You know, if Optic ended up winning that one, I would have just went all Game of Thrones there, going Hodor at the end.
Hold the door. We just would have been yelling, like an obscene amount of just audio that would have been absolutely horrible for our listeners, but I would have been hyped though. That would have been really hype. In any case,
the series, but also that momentum shift there. That can't be understated.
Yeah.
Even though it was a quick game, the fact that they dominated that hard, you saw Optic have to struggle at the very end just to continue it and get about 10 more points. But in the end, fully one-sided for Quadrant. Quadrant previously being the #1 team in the world at Strongholds, still a massive force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and really, when you look at how Quadrant played it, they were never still. They were constantly moving around the map. They were playing and putting themselves in positions where if they had a teammate in a fight, someone was there to help out instantly. And Optic were trying to do that, but it felt like at that point, and to what you were mentioning going into this map, Dave, is that this can snowball quite a bit if you're not careful. And that is what happened. It just completely got out of the control of Optic Gaming, and Quadrant just looked like the greatest Stronghold team in the world yet again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
They've done it before, but now seeing them do it without Legend, on the team, without Chick on the team, it's actually quite fascinating that they're still this effective on this.
They're not magically just gonna be like, terrible at that mode.
Yes.
Like clearly there was something that their team has always figured out, and I've never actually gotten to do the sit-down talk with them, talk about like their exact tactics or what certain things they're looking for during specific moments of Strongholds, because they have something that just works better.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. I would really love to understand the Quadrant approach, and it has been really fun to see it. But in any case, let's look forward. We got Forbidden CTF coming up next year, and I don't know. I don't want to believe in stats. I don't care about stats. Sorry. That's why I'm sorry. Easy Mac. I love you, brother. You the man. But you know what?
Well, for those of us who do believe in stats, looking at the score in front of you right there, Optic looking much stronger there on Forbidden CTF. But also, like you said, we're at the Halo World Championship. Upsets can happen.
Yeah.
The door is not completely shut here, Golden Boy. And if we see anything like we just saw out of that last game here from Quadrant, stats were saying they were supposed to just win games 2 and 3. Yeah. But obviously, they've lost game 2.
They almost won game 2. Yeah. They almost won game 2. And then they dominated game 3. So it's like, statistically, it was not wrong. Yeah. Interestingly enough, it just slightly off, within the margin of error, right? Election season. Now with an Optic Gaming that knows that they just got shellacked on Strongholds, I would expect them to come out just like what they were supposed to do last time, and instead it was more Quadrant with that immediate map control. But you got a couple snipers on each side of the map. You have a lot of space to work with. I sense that this could very well be a playground here for Formal if he manages to get his hands on those vital power weapons.
And Glory's actually... Okay, I was wondering what kind of route he was taking. I knew he wouldn't go sewers there, but decides to jump up towards bridge and get this instant flank on towards top center for this overshield. Looks like that should be an OS going in the hands of Quadrant. There it is, in the hands of SLG. Does he go for an instant grab? Probably not, as you have Sniper in the hands of Lucid. But looks like Glory's already on the Optic flag, gets the toss out, and if they can kill Lucid, which they have, this flag can keep on moving.
It can, but so far it's been still SLG looking for the opening, and it doesn't seem like with that stop they were able to get anything going there.
First off, if he makes this flank, it's completely unexpected, but he is basically leaving his teammates out in a 3v4 as he makes the most amazing flank in the world. So he opts to just go back, fight with his teammates across the top of the map.
And also, too, where this map becomes very, very annoying is in those situations right there, right? You had SLG, they had to account for the sniper, no idea where it was. Oh, he's behind us. The map is so big. There's so many areas that you manage to squeak by and move around the map here, but it seems like we got another attempted flag pull here starting to come to fruition, essentially, for Optic Gaming.
Also interesting, Lucid just trying to keep that pressure on, even though he's in a 1v2 and they know his location, decides to back down, and then we're basically back to the start of the map. Both teams got their half, both teams pushing for center control.
Now, at this point, Dave, how should Optic approach Quadrant's defense here? Because it feels as if what Quadrant are doing, they're just locking it up, but just setting up a wall because they know this OS is going to be coming up. They know that some of these crucial things and these timings are coming up.
Well, it's kind of a game back and forth here. On one hand, you want to defend your sniper side, but also if you get the opportunity, you want to take over their snipe side. So in a case like this, you saw Optic lost their snipe side. They weren't able to successfully take over Quadrant snipe side, so Quadrant in the lead in a much better position right now. They're going to grab this OS, and they already have flag moving. Actually, OS going to go in the hands of Trippy. This is going to be huge here for Optic. They should not only be able to get the stop here, but we're surprised to see Trippy start running the flag of his own, and that's what he does. He's not going to commit towards just stopping the flag. He's going to put his team in a position to get a counter cap.
Yeah, he's got to use this little bit of extra shields that he has to his advantage, but he's going to be running into some traffic now. He's got a couple players in front of him. It's going to be one going down. SLG now looking for the next. Where's he going to be located here? Trippy trying to sniff him out, knows exactly where that flag is going to be, but he needs some help, and it's coming in the form of Lucid. 2v2 fight happening here, but can't Quadrant manage to stand tall? They do so, and they stop Quadrant, or sorry, they stop Optic right in their tracks and do not allow them to be able to prevent that flag from going back to the base.
All right, Formal gonna drop that. Let his next point teammate worry about it, but he needs to be on the defensive side as teammates here from Quadrant can be pushing in. But here's some of that back and forth. Two members of Quadrant go down. Now it's gonna be Optic's turn to go on the offensive and try to push in for a counter, for a return, I should say, not a counter grab.
Formal playing the base here, knowing that there could be a push from the basement. There could be potential pressure from right in front of him where he is right now. He's going to be leaning also on Trippy here with his sniper rifle.
Some people at home might be wondering, why isn't he just holding the flag and hiding where it's at? These players want to have more people on the board shooting across the map. They'd rather not hide in a corner where they can't be seen. Instead, they'd rather see the threat head on, find them coming through sewers, and get that first shot and just trade fights. They're confident enough in their individual fighting ability that they want to be present and doing more damage across the map.
And also, too, they're confident enough in that they could ditch that flag for the time being, go do a couple slays because they see that that timer is there. They know where the players are going to be positioned. So there was a lot of comfort there, I think, for Optic Gaming, and honestly, for both teams, really to just try and take a little bit more space. As we saw earlier, Optic tried to do that with Trippy and Lucid. Now, though, we're right back where we started here. It's going to be this draw game. The overshield has played some roles, but it hasn't been that big of a factor here. Maybe now with Formal holding it, it could play.
Here's going to be the first gap. First gap coming in here for Optic. Good job as they broke through, and they're also in a great spot for a second grab, and that's exactly what Formal does. Formal grabs the second flag, and that's what happens sometimes in situations. Generally in those flag standoffs, what happens is one team breaks through, gets the kills, and gets a second counter cap or second pull. Or what also happens is both teams break through, both flags get returned, and you're back to even.
Which is what, you know, I think if you're Optic, you're feeling pretty happy about this situation because, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but Quadrant were the ones that pulled that flag first. They were the ones to get it across first, but it was losing that overshield to Trippy that stopped the traffic, that stopped the flow of traffic to that flag. And now we're end up in a situation just off of that one little moment alone, and there was more that played into a role there, but had they been able to get that overshield, man, this could have been a different looking scoreboard.
I think that's one of the differences between Optic and a lot of the other top squads is during very chaotic situations, they're making the best macro play they can. So Trippy, instead of being like, all right, am I gonna just drop down, double kill, and recover the flag, and saying, I don't have to do anything special here. I can start to run this flag and then go back and be a part of the recovery. So he opens us multiple opportunities. One, he opens up the counter cap opportunity. Two, he opens up the recovery opportunity. Recovery didn't happen that time, but that backup plan came to play. The flag ran all the way back, and we got a killing frenzy from Formal.
What the hell?
When did that happen? What's going on here?
My guy just chilling, living his best life, picking up these shots. He's got more in the chamber to work with too. And look at these players from Quadrant fall as Optic Gaming now get movement on another flag. Could be their second here. Is anyone in a position to try and make any sort of stop happen? It does not seem to be the case at all. You can even see where those spawns are starting to come in too. There's just nowhere that they can go. The overshield's been grabbed for Optic Gaming. That's going to be the second cap. And I mean, that just was clean, bro.
And it'll be ironic if the time that Formal dies is when he has OS, but he is just getting up close and personal here. Gets double. Does not care about continuing that spree. Instead, cares about getting the most important spree, which is a victory in this series.
That's right.
And gets that toss out, and I respect that.
especially if you can end this 3-0 on the CTF Forbidden. Final map would be massive for Optic Gaming with how things had shaked out in that Strongholds game. You know that they're going to want to go back to the drawing board on that one, but if it ain't Formal putting it together with that sniper rifle, it's probably going to be Lucid with it too, and there's Formal on the push. They are all over these guys. Quadrant cannot seem to get out of that base.
No, I mean, it's tough. They just keep getting pushed back, and that's what happens, especially if you lose your sniper. You see this crossfire coming over from Quadrant snipe side, and snipes coming from top center. There's not much you can do there. There's just too many times where those snipers have multiple shots to take you down. That flag's moving, so many players down, and Formals just feel dropped. No one alive even shooting the back, and here comes the flag through the sewer, and this is gonna be the third and final flag cap coming in for Optic Gaming.
Quadrant have no one there to stop them, and it's gonna be Formal locking it in, and a 3-1 finish for Optic Gaming. A strong start here at the Halo World Championship after a rocky start in Salt Lake City due to illness and just a mess of other factors. You know that Optic wanted to come out of the gate and show everyone why they are the real deal and why everyone in Seattle should fear them when you play against them on that stage.
Yeah, they were able to close it out. They had moments of greatness. Also, a couple shaky times. We were so close to that series being a 2-2 going to game 5. Consider that that 50-49 Slayer. So even though Optic looked clean, the competition could not be any closer here in this second series of the day in Seattle.
But I definitely want to give credit to both teams without a doubt, right? Credit to Quadrant because, you know, they showed that when push comes to shove, when they're in those moments where, you know, they need to have a big game, they can do that. 250 to 68 Strongholds recharge, massive. But you gotta give all the love to Optic Gaming in that map too, 50-49 Solitude Slayer. Why? Because Quadrant were in a great spot in that map. You had SLG with an overkill. You had map control everywhere you looked. It was red everywhere. But no, instead, it was Optic Gaming who manages to just eke that win. 1 kill and a smart play from Formal. And I think again, just it cannot be understated, for the amount of times Formal has come up.
Denied that. Incredible start for the Green Wall, and fans, you should be very excited because yes, this was a little bit of a different pool play match from what we saw from Optic last time. Although they did end up in the winner's side of things and going all the way through, it was a bit of a shaky one at the beginning. Is this giving you the belief that you need behind this Optic Gaming roster to not just take second this time and to lift the damn thing?
Yeah, so far so good for Optic Gaming. Exactly what you expect to see from these guys. True veterans in the scene, world champions. Are 3 of them up there, and you know Dead Zone wants to claim a world championship himself in his career, so everything you want to see out of the Green Wall, the plays being made, the close games being won, this Slayer going down to the wire, Formal showing you trigger discipline when he has that camouflage, finding the weak kill and making sure the game doesn't get out of hand and go into Quadrant's favor to tie this series up. And Tony, you said this game 2 was going to be important. Quadrant were very close to taking this one, but Optic Gaming just showed resiliency, showed patience in a big moment, and I think when Optic Gaming are showing patience, that's a scary form of Optic Gaming.
There was one play that showed on that replay, and that was Dead Zone getting the kill on Snipe Drone with that camouflage, which was huge. Obviously, Formal with his patience with that camo play was big, but when Dead Zone got that kill on Snipe Drone with camo, brings them back within 3 kills, they then slay out and win that camo that Formal got. I love that play that we saw.
I said Formal's been doing it all year, so no surprise. It's championship weekend here, the World Championship weekend, and Formal's off on the right foot once again. A frenzy in Game 4. I said if it went to Game 4 and Optic have the lead and a 2-1 advantage, they're going to close the door on this series. They did just that, and it was off the back of Formal's snipe, and what a pleasure that was to watch. A frenzy from him, almost a riot, and that would have been something that would have been the talk of the town, honestly, if he hits that riot on a team like Quadrant, but just perfection when it comes to the CTF game. And as we take a look at the stats, it really is Formal leading the way, at least with the kills.
What I'd love to see from those stats is, yes, Formal did lead with that 1.36 KD, damage pretty decent as well, but up until that Game 4, it was actually fairly quiet out of Formal, and then he comes in and really becomes the man of that game, and ultimately the man of the series with the way things end. The first 3 games, a little bit more quiet from Formal compared to what we normally expect, but he really showed off with that frenzy. That was clutch.
Something that you had also mentioned, Tony, previous coming into this series was somebody who steps up typically against Quadrant, which is Trippy. He does have the second highest KD, not only on his team, but also in the entire lobby as well. What did you make of Trippy in particular, Tony? Watching him once again going up against the Quadrant boys, and how much did that really affect the outcome of this series for you?
Yeah, the Trippy was great. Like you're seeing in the damage not exactly there, but what impressed me was there was a couple of sneaky plays that he made that got a clutch kill that gave Optic the advantage in order to create these 4v3 situations, these 4v2 situations, and you know you give Optic an inch, they're going to take a mile. So even though the damage wasn't there as much as we want it to be, damage doesn't exactly always tell you the value that a player is having on the map. They love having Trippy within that series, and he also is a large reason why they were able to win.
Certainly is a large reason why that pool update is coming forward and looking awfully good for the Green Wall right now. Optic Gaming do take that first one in their pool of death, going up against Quadrant, and they are sealing the deal right at the top there to see who is going to challenge them next. Looking at a little bit at Pool B as well, Wes, and talking on Quadrant side. Some good things there from Quadrant, I think, coming forward. Yes, you're going up against Optic early on in your tournament, early on in the start of pool play. It's always going to be tough and always going to be difficult. How are you feeling about the Quadrant boys right now for the rest of their journey?
I think I wanted to see more out of them. I wanted to see them contest them in a little bit more in that Game 4, show a little bit more of life when your backs are against the wall there. Sentinels obviously starting off their tournament in the opposite direction, having a win over a sim baseline. Obviously, I think Quadrant aren't going to worry about a sim baseline too much, but that's the big series in this pool if Optic are playing at their best, is that Sentinels Quadrant series, because one of those teams is going to have to start in the elimination bracket if they don't find a way to win that best of 5 later on. Sentinels maybe get some momentum from that sim baseline, even though it was a pushover kind of a team. Sentinels got the job done, and that's got to give you hope that they are going up against each other later tonight in a banger of a series to really decide who's going to go into winner's bracket.
Well, coming up next, we do have Rebellion versus Cloud9. But before we get into that series and heading into a break, we do have a very special episode of Unlocked. Fans may say crazy, some may say mental.
Mental Mental became easily the best player in Gears of War esports history.
You know, once you have that level of success, that anything but first has got to drive you crazy.
And for a 4-year spree, Billy had the highest KD. He went into the most fights and he came out on top. You saw his character coming at you, you took a step back.
Everybody knows his exploits in Gears of War.
Mental definitely on one of the greatest runs, I mean, you could say in esports history.
Those boys were unstoppable.
This is unreal!
You can't help think about the brand of Mental without winning.
My name is Billy Putnam. My gamer tag is Mental. I played Gears of War competitively. I have 22 championship wins in that game.
You should have never stood up! You should have never stood up! Keep sitting down, all right? You're not scared of us!
Gears is different when it comes to trash talking. For me personally, I kind of just stay there stone face, and I let my teammates do all the talking.
Get up! Don't ever get up! Ever! Ever! Don't ever get up! Ever!
Coming to the end of Gears of War 5, Mental was facing a tough decision where he wasn't feeling that passion for the esport anymore, and he had his eyes set on something else.
So yeah, it was a hard decision to quit Gears of War and go to a different game because I didn't have any offers at the time, so I actually had no job.
He wanted to switch to Call of Duty and see if he could become a CDL pro. He did, and actually transitioned into being a starting player on a CDL pro team. So then after CDL came to a close for him, he switched over to Halo.
I knew of Mental from Gears. Obviously, he was like the best of all time, you know? So I kind of knew about him going into Halo. At first, I was like, this guy needs to go back to Gears. Like, he doesn't have it figured out yet. But then he quickly started to just keep grinding and grinding and grinding, you know? He went from a whole bunch of different teammates, Gears teammates to some COD teammates. And then he eventually found Rhinoob. And he went from like not the best placements to placing pro immediately with Rhinoob.
There has never been a player who's given me a first impression like Billy Mental. This guy was incredible. When I first went into practice with him, I was like, you know, it's an option for us, but it's definitely not our leading option. You know, he hadn't placed pro that season, but we had a lot of time in our off season, and we played, and everything was decided after our first match. Can't really emphasize just how professional he was and how great of a teammate he would continue to be. I heard that first mention of, oh yeah, he's a 22, 23-time champion in Gears of War. I was like, what? No, I just heard he was a Gears of War player. That was definitely an interesting tidbit of information to come after I started teaming with him.
I think what stood out for me in Halo was really the movement you can have. Kind of remind me of Gears in a way, where movement mattered a lot.
And I think just that natural, like, superstar talent that he has can translate to any game, and I think Halo is just perfect because it does have that movement.
Oh my God! Oh, get him, boy!
Love this angling here from Mental.
Captain Clutch himself, Mental, he's just popped a 3-piece.
Are you serious?
Third bullet through the dojo.
Oh!
Mental with nades and his...
Oh my God! What?
That could be huge for somebody down Will. They're going to clean up one. Two. Mental nearly found the third.
And Mental and two of them. The duo getting the triple.
Mental fighting on the face. They need people to fight for them like this.
Rebounded! Clean sweep!
It is so unbelievably important to have not only experience, sometimes in a different esport, but to win. The experience of winning, of how to dominate, of how to be the best you can be at something. Having that experience under your belt is so incredibly, I personally think, necessary when you are trying to go into a new esport.
So as a player, for Mental to be a renowned superstar in another FPS title, to then have to start from the bottom and work your way back through, it's been a fascinating journey to watch. And it hasn't been a straight to the top kind of transition. It's been a grind. It's been through the onlines, it's been to LAN, it's been through open bracket to pool play. And now he's on a team with Shopify Rebellion who are making it through to a championship Sunday.
I think he's that player that your team looks to when you want a little bit of inspiration, when you see him ripping faces in the kill feed, all of a sudden you breathe this confidence, you've got this excitement, you start to believe that I can take down an Optic Gaming, a Space Station, a FaZe, and I can put myself into a grand finals if Shopify Rebellion are going to see some success. It will be off the back of something that Mental does.
3 of baseline in the most recent minute. So Rebellion are certainly clawing their way back into this one, and that's one way to get yourself going, to get the team going with a triple kill for Mental.
So Mental being considered one of the GOATs of Gears, which is already an insane feature, to then switch to Halo and be a professional and place, I think he's placed top 3 a few times now, like that's insane.
Making a switch to a different game, I feel like is never easy. So the fact that he's able to catch up with everyone's like really like shows how good he is as a player.
Very few people are able to transition from one esport to another and become successful. But to do it 3 times, that's crazy.
The trajectory that he's on, even though it's been slow, it's only ever been one way, which is up. You would imagine that at some point he will be on that main stage lifting the trophies.
Of course, I have my history in Gears of War, but for me, I want to be looked at as a Halo Pro and a champion in this game as well. I don't really care for second, third, or anything like that. I just want nothing but first. After that, I want domination.
If Mental wins a Halo Major, a title, a ring, I think there's a Hall of Fame for GOATs, and he would definitely be in there.
It's not an if, in my mind, it's a win.
There's been a lot of fans that have been there since day one, from Gears of War specifically, and it means the world to me, and I'm glad everyone's been watching, and I hope I can bring one home for the Gears fam, and you know, I think it's past overdue, so.
If you're a fan of gaming in general or esports, you are automatically a fan of that guy on the screen because he is so good at what he does. I think there is one thing to transition to another game. There's another thing to be good at it as well, right? It's like, okay, you can get up there, you can kind of compete, but to be considered for a world championship, which I very much do consider Shopify Rebellion up there with some of the best to lift that trophy, that is difficult to say the very least. Mental, an exceptional player, and so lovely to have him in Halo as well, Crutch.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable talent. I feel like every time we watch his screen in a big series, he's making big-time plays. And I'm just waiting for them to take that next step on Championship Sunday for Shopify, because I think Mental has caught everybody's eyes. Shopify has caught everybody's eyes throughout this year. They've been consistently getting top 3. It's a matter of can they find a grand finals? And then what form of Mental do we see? Having so many championships from grand finals in Gears of War, you honestly think that as the series gets bigger, a player like Mental is going to play better.
I got the chance to talk to Guy Blaze, who obviously has known Mental for a very long time, and he talked about how Mental always values the start of a game, and because he comes from like a round-based game mode like Gears of War, he always has those hot starts, and it's one of the reasons why Shopify Rebellion like kick off games the way they do. He has a way of staying alive and putting damage down.
I love that note, actually. I think that's such an interesting insight onto the team and maybe how they can adapt around a player that brings something special to the table. He certainly does. While I have you as well, Tony, talking about Shopify first and foremost, you know, and talking about kicking things off as well, kicking their World Championships off, they faced up against Native. Were you impressed by the gameplay that you saw from Rebellion early on so far this tournament?
Yeah, I would say I feel good about them. You know, I think Native were excellent, and I think the things that I saw from Shopify Rebellion were really good. I look at them going to that King of the Hill and the Strongholds. They were very impressive with not just the slays that they were able to get, but the value within those slays. Defensive kills on players in the Strongholds and Hill, but also offensive kills where they're in the Hill, when they're in the Strongholds, they're outslaying the opposition. So I love what I saw out of them, at least as far as that, like not just slaying around the objective, but also being aggressive through the objective and playing one step ahead. So I'll say I liked it. Maybe the Slayer not so much though.
Yeah, for me, I actually want to see Shopify play even better. I think Native Gaming had a realistic chance to steal that series with a couple of different decisions, a couple of different kills going in their favor. I think we could be talking about Shopify completely differently going into the series. Although it is one thing to just get the first series of your tournament out of the way, and they were able to come on top unscathed, we'll say. They only lost one game, and it was a Slayer. So nothing to really like hang your heads on right now, but for Shopify, I think they expect domination. I think they're going to have to expect domination if they truly want to catch fire this weekend and have a championship Sunday run that they haven't been capable of. So I'm looking at this to be another contest for them and another opportunity to get the ball rolling in the direction of dominance, which is what they expect.
On the side of Cloud9, we just saw a moment ago the flash of the face of Manny, who is actually relatively new to this roster, being picked up last event, which was on the precipice of the roster lock. So, you know, they picked him up, and actually Cloud9 looked like they started to soar a little bit into the clouds with him on the roster. Now, growth is everything for a new team change. Tony, you know, do you think that, you know, what happened with SLC, you know, favored Shopify and how it worked out with their series layout from coming into Worlds here, do you think that's going to kind of talk about how their playstyle might improve a little bit? We could be seeing a Cloud9 who's really gunning for some success here, if not to climb the ladder a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You know, obviously, Shopify and Blank going up against Cloud9 are going to be the heavy favorites, but Cloud9 are no pushover against anybody in the league, even against this very SSG roster like you're seeing right now. There were times where Cloud9 should have 3-0'd them with how good they looked in the Slayer, with when they went to that Game 5, how amazing they looked. Cloud9 are the real deal, but we got to stop getting them in positions where it's like heartbreaking defeats and start, you know what, they clutched it out. They got the win. They need to get over the hump.
100%. I think also getting over the hump, there has to be an element of the fact that the series layout this time around in Worlds is a little bit more even. We're looking at the series rewind here. What are you reading into what what they're dealing with here coming into this first match?
I mean, like you said, the series definitely favors them a little bit more. And even though I think they did fantastic, we still saw them take those first 2 games on a Stronghold's interference. You look at Shopify Rebellion and Cloud9 stylistically, and you say, oh no, Shopify Rebellion win interference all day, every day. But that was different. Cloud9 clutched up. So even though the series was against them in the first time they matched up, they were able to push to a Game 5. And I expect the same thing out of Cloud9 here. It's a little bit more even, and you are ready to take that next step in your career. Cloud9, this is your opportunity.
All right, well, I have an opportunity right now to do something a little bit different on this desk, and get your paddles ready, lads, because we're going to do some killer takes, and we're going to see what we're going to be dealing with here. But we have 3 different paddles that mean 3 different things. Obviously, we have Kill-tacular, which means that the take is pretty spicy. It's pretty hot. It's kind of crazy. We have Overkill, which is a medium spicy take, you know, medium level hot. And then the assist is a little bit of a cold take, not so great, kind of average. So we're going to see what comes our way in terms, and I want to know what you boys think and how much we agree on some of these takes. So without further ado, let's see what we're dealing with here graphically, because I'm excited to see. All right, so Shopify will slip up, which will allow C9 to take full advantage and take that pool. They'll face Optic and lose. I think that's this.
That's a spicy take.
That's really spicy.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, that's really spicy, and I don't agree with it, but I appreciate how spicy that take is, and I think a lot of Cloud9 fans will be very excited by that, potentially. What about you?
I think that's a spicy take. The big thing that Cloud9 lacked at SLC, and I don't know how you obtain it over a month's practice, is a killer instinct. You got reverse swept. You should have won multiple Game 5s. That ended 50-49. You didn't have the ice. You were in promising positions in both of those. Until you find the killer instinct, you have not proven to me that you can hang with the big dogs. Shopify's a big dog. That's a very hot take that they're going to take this series.
Tony, you got the medium heat on.
I don't think it's that hot of a take, to be honest with you. I think we've seen Shopify Rebellion, you know, struggle on obviously on Championship Sundays, but that could happen here in the World Championship on a Friday, on a Saturday. I think Cloud9 are very good. They were up 2-0 in that series and put themselves in a position to 3-0 Shopify Rebellion. So although I believe Shopify Rebellion can beat anybody in this league, I don't think they're unbeatable. I think Cloud9 can clutch up and get a win, and it's going to happen if Shopify Rebellion don't clutch up, if they slip up. I don't think that was that hot of a take.
All right, well, we'll see how crazy of a take that truly is. We're going to head to the stage right now. Let's meet your team, Shopify Rebellion versus Cloud9.
It is the Halo World Championship, and you cannot afford to leave your A game at home. Pool D is where our eyes are set now. These two teams, Rebellion and Cloud9, joined in Pool D with Native Gaming and Dark inside. One of these teams, has got to go, and the desk can tee this one up perfectly. Cloud9 get to game 5, never find the ice. Rebellion continue to get themselves into 3rd place. What sort of form will these two be in?
Yeah, spicy takes, not spicy takes, medium takes, whatever it is, Cloud9 have an opportunity here to try and disrupt one of the top 3 teams from recent events. Shopify Rebellion have been the breakers of the top 3. They've been the ones that have really disrupted those big teams, tournament after tournament, to finally find themselves as one of the big squads in this tournament. But now, Cloud9, can they do something in this pool to say, actually, we're here to play?
Shields up, weapons hot, we're underway, we're on board with Septify, and he'll be looking to right some wrongs of the past and make sure they can find that ice.
Argyle CTF could be the perfect start for Cloud9. It's arguably Shopify Rebellion's worst capture the flag map, so maybe an opportunity to try and disrupt them in the early stages. I do want to keep an eye on Cycle. He's usually the guy who's putting up the damage for the side of Shopify, but Suspector, he's already putting up the damage for his side of Cloud9.
And the complexion of Cloud9's tournament in Salt Lake City. Oh! Good, but not good enough. Taking the then champions to a game 5, but coming unstuck. Manny puts them in the lead, and they're starting this one off hot.
The speed of which they've just captured that flag is insane, and it was all down to the sniping as well, to be able to take that sniper, get the damage done, and Cloud9 are relentless with their aggression right now. Rebellion very much on the back foot.
Rebellion need to weather this storm. Suppressing the respawn screen, and Cloud9 have got a flag tossed out once more. This time though, Manny gets cut down. Suspector is out of sniper rifle ammo now, so his impact on the map should now dissipate just a touch. Mental soars forward, killing spree for Suspector, and he might not be done yet as he looks towards Suppress, but ultimately gets back down.
Does get the help though to ensure that that player just gets eliminated from the map. All Snipe's gone down. But this is such a good opportunity for now Cloud9. They can actually sit on this 1-0 lead. I mean, 10 minutes to try and sit on it is going to be difficult, so you kind of sit back, you wait for Shopify Rebellion to push, and then you hit the counter as soon as you get some of those sneaky kills. Wait around those corners, play a little bit ratty, use this lead to your advantage.
Cycle's got the long scope. Playing a little bit of defense for now, and with good reason, because Cloud9 have been that good. They've applied so much pressure, and Sab's there again, just to try and squeeze and make this difficult for him. Settling for the trade. No, Sab gets the kill, as does Manny elsewhere. Cloud9 are not interested in giving Rebellion an opportunity to grow into this series. They're trying to hit them hard and hit them fast.
Mental, who we saw an incredible unlocked episode about his journey into Halo Infinite and how he would love to find a world championship. And it would all start today on Friday with a good pool play performance from Shopify Rebellion, similarly to what we've seen so far this year. Their consistency has been unreal. And it's all been about that championship Sunday for Shopify Rebellion, where they really haven't been able to match those teams and the experience they've been going up against, but they have been getting better and better as each tournament goes on. Can this be the tournament where Shopify Rebellion finally find themselves in a grand final?
They had the flag out. Sab just doing perfect work there, picking up a double kill and making sure that flag does not progress past the halfway point. Expertly done by him. That's going to be in Soul Snipes in the world of Hurt. The two players combined to make sure he's cleared out of the base. This is good from C9.
This is great from C9. I think Shopify Rebellion may be surprised by the speed at which Cloud9 came out of the blocks. And now you've got to try and slow them down. Mental with a sniper is going to be a good way to do so. Cloud9 probably going to be running with their tails between their legs right now, because once Mental gets let loose with that sniper, we know what he can do.
Will he be wall bouncing left and right, hitting these shots? One thing we noticed from the Unlocked episode, Dan, is when all of his players and his teammates were using some colorful language, you will say, to his opponents, he stayed seated. It is almost like the expectation was always going to be that he would win the series, that he would pop off. And he puts Suspector in the grave once more and scoops up a grapple as well. Sniper rifle now completely out of ammunition. Sab's over towards the vent. Mental's getting close to him. 3 shots in, both combined, both trade.
Suppressed is going to be able to pull that flag, and Cycle, player I was saying we need to keep an eye out for, and the amount of damage that he can put down. Usually averages around 12 kills per game here on Argyle CTF. Sadly, whiffs that one though, so not an extra kill, but he is able to at least let them know he's there, so now they have to take a new angle with this sniper being in that position. Flag almost home, but not quite yet.
Flag almost home, but not holes just yet. And players starting to fall, 3 dead for Rebellion, perhaps risked a little bit too much there. And now they're spawning back base, and that's exactly where Sav and Co want them. Soul Snipe's in trouble, and he recognizes this. Tries to head towards the grapple. Suspector gets the kill. This flag's pushing forward now. Septify is being pressured from across the map, but his shields remain untouched for now. As he looks over towards the pistol side now. Anybody from Rebellion in position to stop this flag? The answer is yes, 3 players exactly. And he has to wait for his teammates to spawn back up and help him.
It's a firing squad waiting for him if he wants to put this flag in, so Septify playing this one very well, just keeps touching it, is waiting for a little bit of support, waiting for a bit of help. But it looks like there's going to be just a great pinch here from Shopify Rebellion.
Beautiful backstab by Soul Snipe. Ensures this flag is not going to be getting punched in too easily. And Sab goes to touch it. He's got hands on. Where are Rebellion? Where have they gone? The answer is it doesn't matter. The score now 2-0.
Cloud9 taking this advantage that I mentioned at the start of this game where Rebellion just haven't really been able to find success at times on Argyle CTF throughout this year. I think they can get a little bit bogged down sometimes with trying to control the map a little bit too much and just let those flags slip through their fingers just in one quick counter cap. And now Cloud9, 6 minutes left, 2-0 up. You shouldn't throw this away. If you are a team in the Halo World Championship that has aspirations of getting to the latter stages of the tournament, you win this map.
And you've seen last event, Cloud9 put themselves in really good positions time and time again. But when they got there, they almost changed the strategy. They were afraid. It was like they got nosebleeds because they hadn't been that high before. Have they learned from the mistakes of the past? Is this the moment now where you start to really apply pressure to those big teams? You take the series here, you take the series lead at least, and you really apply pressure because right now they're catching Rebellion flat-footed.
Almost a triple kill for Mental. We'll be able to at least communicate where that final player is, and now there's going to be 2 on spawn. Rebellion need to up the ante, and they need to do it fast. You don't want to give Cloud9 too much time here just to kind of pick and choose where they want to be. Is Mental off the map and out of the equation. Cloud9 can once again just focus on defending it.
You mentioned up in the ante. One of the chips that Mental had was that sniper rifle. He's thrown it off the map, not choosing to put it on the table. For good reason. Players like Suspector can really punish you if you put that weapon in his hands. As he pushes forward now. You can see the strategy has altered just a touch. Perhaps Cloud9 happy to hold what they have. They've worked hard for it after all. But will that then open the door just a touch for Rebellion to sneak their way in? Because you know if they capture one flag, the confidence, and all of a sudden the momentum starts to shift.
5 minutes remaining. It's going to be 3 dead on the side of Rebellion, and Cloud9 are looking to try and finish this off here and now. By the looks of it, Sab's going to be running this flag. And they say, actually, we've got a brilliant opportunity at making this just a quick, easy 3-0. Rebellion need to try and respond off spawn.
Septify with that sniper rifle has a grapple as well, so if the flag gets close, he might be able to grapple it towards him and make a lot of progress very quickly. Septify rips the skull of Suppressed. He hears players underneath him. He's looking towards the enemy vent, but no player positioned there right now. Soul Snipe gets close, shield gets popped, and he just doesn't have the arms big enough. He's got those T-Rex reach.
Rebellion have done enough at least to return that flag and keep it alive. 4:20 left on the clock. Suspector has a sniper rifle, but just can't quite find those body shots to really secure these kills, clean up these Shopify Rebellion players. And if they do stay alive, if they do get away, they're going to start to pressure your base. This game isn't over. We've seen Cloud9 in these spots, and they have thrown away games, as you mentioned, against the more experienced teams. We're going to learn a lot in these next 4 minutes.
4 minutes long enough for this script to change. There's still time for alterations. Soul Snipe and Suppressed are pushing forward into the base. Soul Snipe has got that quantum translocator and he's used it to get straight back into the vent, and he has the cover and the safety now. He can go back in and get a flag touch if he needs to. That portal goes both ways, but Septify shuts him down.
Oh, shuts down one, but Cycle just able to stay alive for the next. Flag is going to go back. 3 minutes 30. Rebellion, again, they need to start moving. Someone needs to start thinking about trying to get behind enemy lines and see if you can get a flag on the pull. It's not going to be the perfect setup. I think it's going to have to be scrappy now if you're Rebellion and trying to get one here.
They have made progress. You see Cloud9, they're in a lot of unorthodox positions, making it really difficult for Rebellion to make progress here. They're having to fight for every inch. Sabanir, so locked, so dialed right now, put a bullet in his own teammate. But all of a sudden, the Slays have gone against him. Suspect is the last man alive over towards that glass on the snipe side. He's trying to make this difficult. He's trying to put damage down for his teammates. Cycle down to no shields. He has done a decent enough job here to stop this one in its tracks for now, at least.
This is a desperate last attempt at trying to get a pull, but all four dead on the side of Rebellion, and Cloud9 holds so successfully. That one player staying alive, doing enough damage to Cycle that he couldn't cross with the flag, was so detrimental to Rebellion's chances here. And now with 2 minutes 30 left on the clock, time is running out. Cloud9 don't need to get overzealous. They genuinely can just sit back here. There is no need to look for a third flag right now.
It's about whether they want to push forward and have these fights a little further up the map, so that way, if they do fall, Rebellion aren't on their doorstep immediately. Do they try and take those engagements a little further up the map? Do they get a little bit adventurous? Do they play with a little bit more courage and bravery? They're doing this expertly right now. Rebellion are in trouble. They have them on the ropes with 2 minutes on the clock.
I like this from Cloud9. They're being very patient, waiting in their screens, waiting for the push to come through. Manny, of course, starting to think about the sniper rifle, which has exposed him slightly, and now Rebellion will get 2 dead. So this is going to be Rebellion's chance to get a flag pull, if any. But again, that's just going to be the one flag. They need back-to-back flags here.
Suppress got hands on. He's picked up a couple of plasma grenades on his way. Septifies in front of him. He's also got a player at his back. He's in big trouble here, is Suppressed. Ultimately gets taken down from a combination of 3 members of Cloud9. 3 dead for a moment. Mental, the last man standing. He's soaring towards Septify. He appears to have a sniper rifle in his hands as well. He needs to start hitting shots. He needs to start going big because they're almost down to within a minute of this game ending in Cloud9's favor.
Yeah, Cloud9 again could just back off, watch their lanes here, watch their angles, and frustrate Shopify Rebellion that little bit further to get them that one step closer to victory here in this first map. It looks all but guaranteed at this point. Just not enough time, really, for Shopify Rebellion to try and get back-to-back flags. Argo, a very difficult map to try and do so. You have to just control so much of it to be able to do that.
Cloud9 have been in complete control for large portions of this game. Every time Rebellion have pushed forward, they just really haven't gotten that flag over the halfway point. They've huffed and they've puffed, but they've been unable to blow the Cloud9 house down. And at the moment, they're sitting pretty with this 2-0 lead with 30 seconds left. It seems like a matter of time now before they're 1-0 to the good.
It is quite surprising because a house of clouds, you would imagine,
it's quite easy
blow over pretty easily, but they've held strong.
Their rain clouds can be pretty heavy.
It has been fortified, this base of Cloud9, and Shopify Rebellion just have not been able to break through.
The windows have been well and truly boarded up. They're not interested in stepping outside. Suppressed on the staircase, has to back away towards his basement. Manages to a little bit of help with mixed martial arts. Clear out his base, and Cloud9 draw first blood. 1-0 to C9.
When I looked at the series layout, Argyle CTF, I was thinking this was going to be Cloud9's best opportunity at a victory. I don't think Rebellion will be too disheartened looking at what they've got coming up in the series layout. But what it does do for Cloud9 is give them that confidence going into the rest of it. We speak of Salt Lake City, you speak of the woes that Cloud9 had to go through after being so close to toppling the best team in the world. And sadly, they were unable to do so. And now, can they topple one of the top 4 squads in Rebellion here as we move over to Slayer Livefire as map number 2. But we can look back at some of the highlights. It was Cloud9 dominance, really. There was nothing from Rebellion that suggested they were going to win that game.
Yeah, they were never really in control. Cloud9, from the outset, that flag capture coming with barely 45 seconds played. That's how quickly they moved. Not interested in giving Rebellion the chance to warm up, to heat up. C9 came to play, and they've been rewarded for the aggression. They hold a 1-0 lead now. It's very easy for us to get bogged down in the woes, Dan, like you say, from Salt Lake City. Yes, they found themselves going out in those Slayers in gut-wrenching fashion. But there is that expression, you don't lose, you learn. Have they gone back? Have they looked at the drawing board? This is what the mistakes we made. Let's ensure we never do that again.
It could have been some of the most vital experience that they learned, that loss. Tasting loss after being so close to tasting victory might have just given them enough of an oomph going into this tournament to make sure they lock down games like that. Practice some Slayers some more, because we know teams don't like to practice Slayers as often because they feel like it's a little bit different. It's hard to replicate the tournament style. But maybe Cloud9 are just the real deal here at the Halo World Championship. Well, Slayer Li-Fi is going to be coming up. It's a very different story between Shopify and Cloud9. It is a far superior mapping mode for Shopify Rebellion. And you can see just how much success they've had previously, but also their struggles and where they have arrived. Native, SSG, Optic Gaming have all been able to topple Shopify Rebellion.
And even before this, as we were teeing up the series of Desk, we were talking about Cloud9's woes in Slayers as well. The problems and the issues that they have had getting over that hump, winning that game 5. 2-6 in Slayers versus Rebellion's 5-2. There is a very stark contrast in the performances, and really it has to be said, there are 2 Slayers in every series. They are your bread and butter. They're the ones you have to get right.
And they are the #1 team on Li-Fi Slayer or Shopify Rebellion with that 5-2 record. And one of the players that is the big reason is Suppressed. I remember actually in Salt Lake City, we were like, let's keep an eye on Suppressed when he's playing Li-Fi Slayer, because he can start to pop off, and he went insane. He almost had the entire team on his back. And they're going to need him to step up to that kind of standard here in this map too, because they need to shut down Cloud9 quickly.
And they'll be doing some game 1 analysis when they go back, no doubt. And it's difficult for us, certainly, to point fingers at what exactly went wrong on that Argyle flag. What was the issues that arose that they need to tackle now in the VOD review? But one thing they know is they have got work to do, because Cloud9 completely outplayed them. And they'll be hoping to turn their fortunes around here in game 2.
Well, it was the hot start, wasn't it, from Cloud9 that I think really set the pace of that initial map 1. Can they do something similar here and get a really early lead, but Cycle denies Septify? Cloud9 do briefly have a lead, but it looks like Shopify Rebellion will even things up and now regain it themselves. And still haven't seen Camo grabbed yet, but it looks like Mental might be able to get hold of it.
Slayer on live fire. This is where it all happened. This is where it all went wrong. If you're a Cloud9 fan, you almost do not want to see this map mode combination. It's too painful to see. And for the players, they can be saying the same thing. A couple of them go down to no shields. This looks like clean up on aisle 5 for Mental, as he could be with the lock in a triple kill. Gets close to Septify, but the Quantum Translocator gets Septify out of dodge.
Backs off. Sadly, not able to stay alive. You only get out of dodge for a short while because Suppressed was there and waiting. 8-8. I think if you are Cloud9 here, you will definitely have those memories, the bad memories of this map and mode against SSG at Salt Lake City. But as you alluded to, I think you have to learn from that. You have to have practiced it, and you've got to make sure that if you are in that scenario or anywhere close to it again, you have a better game plan to ensure that you don't fall in that way.
Septify attempting to dipsy doodle. Shout out Strongside, who we recently found out is a father, so congratulations to him. He's been putting in reps for an upcoming Halo 2 land. So hoping the old dog still got it. Here looking at Septify with the sniper rifle. No more ammunition to play with. Manny down to no shields. And he's taken care of as well. So a 3-kill deficit for Cloud9 to claw back at. And Rebellion now just starting to get in the ascendancy. A little bit of map control with the camouflage to pop up in 25 seconds.
This is the lead that Rebellion were searching for. They're far more comfortable when they do have a little bit of control, not just of the map, but of the game. Less to worry about trying to break your way back in, as that repulse will just send 3 members of Cloud9 back. So much information gathered there by Cycle, and then the collapse comes through. Mental was just there and waiting, locked in to secure those kills.
Mental sliding in tandem with his teammate then. Septify over towards Nest. Soul Snipe's got that camouflage. Waiting for information. What's the best play to make here? Caught between a rock and a hard place. The hard place right now is Manny. Manny takes care of business. Camouflage now completely negated. No longer an issue. No longer a concern. 4 kills now for Cloud9 to claw back at. And with Rebellion spawning over towards green, a real opportunity for a collapse. But 3 members push big door. Perfect execution from Rebellion.
Yeah, Rebellion doing very well to isolate targets at the moment. And as soon as they have the numbers advantage, they are very relentless with their pushing. They don't really give Cloud9 the chance to think and plan accordingly. But they've noticed one player is going to be over towards tower, and that tower player does not survive for very long. They eliminate him instantly.
The sniper rifle hadn't even hit the floor, and it was already in the hands of Mental. Fortunately for him, he was cut down before he could get cooking with it. It's passed straight back over to Sab. And he holds tower. And right now, he holds a lot of the map for his team, ensuring a lot of these lanes are clear, and if anybody does pop up, they'll have the shields or the face ripped from right under them. Manny's position top middle, as is Septify. So they're looking to hatch a plan of some description. Two members of Rebellion over towards green. Now Sab has not seen that player cross over towards Nest, so he could be an issue and a thorn in the side if they're not careful. They're starting to engage now over towards the camouflage side. Cycle is still positioned there, hoping to maybe catch Sab off guard if he drops off this bridge. There's trouble afoot, but Sab just doesn't know it. His shields gets ripped down to half. That's good enough for him to know that there's a lot of contention over that side, and perhaps he needs to explore different avenues. He's doing so now. Cycle and Mental combined, almost as though Sab expected that kill to go his way. He slid past it. All four dead. Cloud9 only get one from that push.
The shields were up, but the weapon was not hot, sadly. Couldn't do anything with it. And now Shopify Rebellion, they regain that quite significant lead now. They're up by 8. For Cloud9, they just have to ensure that they get some trades in when they can't afford to go all 4 down in such an easy way, really. It was a good attempt at a push. I like that they had a plan, but sadly, Rebellion were more than aware of it. Cloud9, if they're going to get back into this one, they need an all 4 dead that's a flawless run as well. They need a coordinated attack. I was going to say maybe that's going to be the one, but Soulsnipe's able to get the trade.
I think the issue you have is you do have some woes on Slayer. You don't want to be playing the best team in the league. They will punish you anytime that you give them an opportunity to. Septify slides forward with no shield straight into Suppressed Bandit Rifle. Camouflage has been scooped up by Suspector and he hasn't been spotted out here. Gets the shields down, gets the kill as well. Cycle's gonna get close. Information was passed across, his shields go down, and ultimately he has to put it into reverse. He remains top middle. Suspector just patrolling like a Terminator. Getting kills, doing damage, downloading information for his team and passing it over.
Surely heard the grunts of the Spartan there, and he did, so that's going to be another kill secured, and now they're only down by 4 here, Cloud9. This is a great passage of play, a lot of it coming from the camouflage from Suspector. Manny picks up another one. Now they're down by 3. And suddenly it's just 2, so Cloud9 may be learning from what happened to them in Salt Lake City and saying, look, we're not down and out until it is officially over. And they are right back into this one now.
Suspector, 14, 4, and 8. He really has been the Terminator on the map. And Manny with that sniper rifle. He's been on live fire and he's had the game in his hands before. Can he turn his team's fortunes around here? Currently sitting at 11, 5, and 11. Consistent, good for now, but they need more from the team. Specifically from Septify, who seems to be struggling right now. Perhaps he needs to alter his game plan. Play a little bit differently, but right now it's a 1-kill game, and Cloud9 have got themselves right back into this Slayer.
I think another surprise is Suppress going -5 at the moment. 13 deaths. He often tries to be the player that kind of flanks around and can be that pivot point for the team to pick up damage. He's been caught off guard a couple of times, and there's just maybe one too many that's allowed Cloud9 to stay in this game. And perhaps Rebellion, with the lead that they did have, they were perhaps a little bit overconfident. They still are up by 3, so they don't have to worry too much just yet, and a big kill there coming out of Soulsnipe.
And he pushes forward. Thought he got a trade, thought it was good for one, but it wasn't. Only 2 shots in the melee, not enough to get the kill. So now, 3 kills. On board with Suppressed. As he pushed into house now. Septify and Manny are combining together here. Suppressed takes care of one with a fresh 5 shots. Camouflage now popped up. It's in the chest of Sab. He needs to get away and he needs to have an influence on these next few engagements because they're running out of kills.
Yeah, you'd imagine a 5-kill lead, making a 4-kill lead at this stage of the game should be enough for Rebellion, but we've seen crazier things happen. Suppressed just needs to stay alive. You need to play your life smart here because your teammates are going down. Cloud9 are having a bloody good go at this one. It's going to be another kill, you'd imagine, 47-45. Rebellion just need to be careful here. They are giving far too many opportunities to Cloud9 to actually wrap around them.
Cloud9 chased the length and breadth of live fire to get that kill over by scoreboard. Now within 2, 3 members now pushing towards sandbags. Little do they know, 3 members of Rebellion towards scoreboard. Sab has missed them all. They've leaked through the cracks here. This could spell peril if they're not too careful. All 4 members in house now. Suppress gets 1. It's traded out. Sab's in trouble. Uses the quantum translocator to get out and re-engage. Soulsnipe's down to no shields. A lot of damage has been done here, but nobody's capitalizing on it. Sab's down to no shields. No, half shields, excuse me. So nervous, in fact, that he backs away from that kill, knowing the next couple of kills are going to be too important. And it comes the way of Rebellion. 2 slow for Cloud9 and the series score 1-1.
Good save there, but yeah, 1-1. Could have been worse, but Cloud9, they just couldn't find them. I think you were right. They were trying to scout out where those players might be. And even though you have the QT to try and redirect yourself, there were so many players on one shot there, but everyone was baiting and switching so successfully from the side of Rebellion, making it almost near impossible for Cloud9 to actually pick up those kills. And sadly for Cloud9, despite their valiant efforts to fight their way, claw their way back into their game, they weren't able to do anything with it. And it is going to be 1-1 after the 2, and a chance, of course, for the players to take a little bathroom break.
So Cloud9 Slayer woes continue, at least for now. And for Rebellion, this is what they do, Dan. Even if they lose that initial objective game type, that game 1, games 2 and 5, more often than not, swing their way. Cloud9 have got to find a way to disrupt this team. Game 1 was perfect, it was flawless almost. Game 2 a little less so.
Shopify Rebellion will continue their map record on Livefire, and it is just going to be one of those scenarios where they keep getting better and better, and they keep being the #1 team. And you saw the stats before, even though they had an incredible Slayer record against the bigger teams, they had struggled a little bit, and they had lost a few Slayers, so being able to secure that one is going to do wonders for their confidence as well. For Cloud9, however, it is just Livefire woes yet again. And if they are going to win this series, you imagine they are going to have to get a Slayer at some point. But they could get it done in 3 objectives. So I guess they don't have to play another Slayer. Maybe they'd be happier if they didn't play said Slayer.
Well, I guess what we have on the horizon is going to be an objective game. Like, we've got Streets Oddball, and I know you've always got some valuable information that can tip the scales one way or another. You're pretty good at telling us what way to expect it to go, and confirmation of what you've seen on the series layout. 2-0, Argyle CTF went Cloud9's way. It was smooth sailing. Game 2, though, 50-46. They came undone. Oddball Streets then on the horizon, Dan. What have you got for me?
Oddball Streets is another one of Shopify Rebellion's best maps and modes. They are 5-1 on it throughout the entire season. And I think my highlight player is going to have to be Cycle. He has the highest KD across the entirety of Oddball in the league. So he's going to be the main man, and you need to shut him down if you're Cloud9.
Well, we have an opportunity to jump into ITB versus Pure whilst we're in an intermission here, and players head to the bathroom. Into the breach, up 2-1 here. And they've been here before, and they've won this series before against Pure. Hoping to tap into that inspiration once more. Jimbo just falls down. They require 3 more seconds to tie up this Oddball.
And this would be a huge result for ITB if they were able to find a victory against Pure. We've seen what Pure can do in terms of disrupting that kind of top 8, and when they do go on a run. But ITB, they've done it before. They've been able to break into that top 6, and I'm sure they would love to be back there at the Halo World Championship, if not further. They still need 3 more seconds here on this round to take us to round 3, because at the moment, Pure have a round advantage here on Oddball.
Chick shuts that one down, 4 dead. That should be the round for Into the Breach, and yes, indeed it is. 1-1 the score now. 1 round away. And I don't even want to call it an upset. It's been done before. Perhaps for Into the Breach, this is the expectation that they will win this series. Both teams probably expect to win this series. That's how close it's going to be.
These often are some of the best series to watch between the best European teams and some of the kind of teams outside of the bubble of North America that are slowly trending upwards. You get such competitive games, and I think these are the games that ITB need to be winning if they want to find themselves in successful position at the end of the tournament. But also, in terms of a metric for Pure, if they can beat a team like ITB, they know they are playing at a high standard as well.
I think it's important that you note for the likes of Into the Breach, it wasn't some meteoric rise. They have slowly grinded results out over the course of the year, where they've had top 12 finishes, top 8, and now they find themselves in that top 6 bracket and being a real difficult customer for any of the top teams. If you don't bring your A game, Into the Breach will punish you. And that's what Pure have got to do here. They've got to answer back and push this one to a game 5. At the moment, they have got the ball and they brought it towards tower.
I think if you are Into the Breach here, though, you need to get it done here in map 4. You don't want to go into a Game 5 Slayer against Pure. You look at some of those names and how they've been playing in recent weeks and also recent tournaments. Slayer-wise, they just have such an impact, and I think you are really putting yourself at a disadvantage if you go into that Game 5. So for ITB, it has to be now for me.
You might say now or never. Move them down to no shields. Druk and Tolik make sure that they put the Finn away. He's going to push towards Big Door. nades the big door, as a matter of fact, and decides to go sandbags instead. Jimbo will jiggle peek, and both of them will take a fair chunk of shields off one another. Williams has just spawned up, and Druck's aware of this. Communication came his way. You can see Pure have a very clear game plan right now. Get the slays you need before moving that ball. And that way you can extract maximum time and maximum pain for Into the Breach.
See, ITV just want to get that ball away from House. They don't want to allow Pure to get that set up. And it is a bit scrappy at the moment. Neither team has had that ideal position with the ball, but maybe this could be it from last shot. He sees where the spawners are. He tries to escape, but good grenades, good map awareness from ITB to make sure that he doesn't.
Druck's top middle then. Drops down the hole, looking to re-engage. Mighties and Chick fall. Rudum's in big trouble then. It's going to be in enemy territory. Jimbo's going to try and get there. Heads up play for Rudum to play that ball and ensure if he does fall, it shouldn't amount to too much time on the board.
So many kills on the side of Pure as well in these recent moments, but they've not really been able to capitalize on actually picking up any ball time from it. And ITB are just keeping Pure at arm's length. Of course, if you want to carry on watching this game, go to twitch.tv/HCS to watch your boys ITB or Pure, as we will see the final remaining moments of this series over there. But we will head back to the main stage, where of course we have to still wrap up this series. Shopify Rebellion just won map number 2 to take us to 1-1 against Cloud9 as the players arrive back on the stage after the little break.
Cloud9 take their seats with purpose now, it has to be. A reminder, like we say, score now 1-1. Streets oddball on the horizon, Dan. You mentioned Suppressed in the Slayer, and perhaps he underperformed just a touch. It didn't cost him too much in the end, but who is your player to watch? Who is the one that you expect to make the difference here for either one of these teams?
I think I alluded to it. It's going to be Cycle. He has the highest oddball KD in the league, so that's including every single team. He has had the most kills to death ratio out of anyone in the HCS. Something about oddball just clicks for him, the way he moves around the map, the way he's able to manipulate other teams and just feeding his constant damage. And he has been the guy on oddball. So for Rebellion, that's where they're going to be kind of hoping he will pick up those kind of performances. But for Cloud9, that's who you have to shut down. And yes, okay, Suppressed didn't kind of step up to the plate in game 2, but Mental did. I think that's what is always impressive about Rebellion. There is always someone else to pick up the slack if someone isn't having that pop-off kick.
The best of frenemies sit across from one another. Former teammates, Manny on the side of Cloud9, Soul Snipe and Suppressed, perhaps once upon a time, could have been teammates. But what we have in front of us now is a slobber knocker. But still time to dissect what we've seen in games 1 and 2, Dan. Of course, game 1 was all one-way traffic for Cloud9. The perfect start. 50-46 in the Slayer. They weren't staked by any sake of the imagination, but they do find themselves now 1-1. And after that bathroom break, do you expect them to come back revitalized, or do you think now the series starts to trend more towards Rebellion?
I think in a round-based game like Oddball, it is going to trend towards Rebellion. I spoke about who's going to be the best KD. Well, the ball carrier is something I am always a big fan of. When I used to play and compete in Halo, I was more objectively focused. Whether that's because I couldn't aim or not, that's down to your own discretion.
That's only for mean people to say.
But certainly, these guys are going to be very important of their positioning, when they grab that ball, the risks they take to ensure that they get that ball time under their belt as well. And I think that you could argue they will be the most important players on the map, even if they do it quietly and go about their business.
And we can talk about this, the Cloud9 story. They found themselves in the opens having to do it the hard way more often than not. And now they find themselves starting to rub shoulders with the teams that perhaps they expected to be against all along, but they finally start to find that form and be competitive in the big series. And we're seeing it here again against Rebellion.
Yeah, and I think that Cloud9 had that really hot start in Argyle CTF. And sure, you could have it again here in Streets Oddball, but then you are going to finish and go up a round, and then the round completely restarts. And that does kind of take that momentum away from you a little bit. Very different to old school Halo Oddball, where it would just be a straight 250, for example. So I think that Cloud9 need to be continuing to focus on their starts, but also accept the fact that once they've got that first round, if they are to get it, keep hitting Shopify hard at the start of that game and try and take the early lead.
And how often do we see it in Oddball where you win a close round 1 and you almost exhale a little bit and you settle into a groove. You think you've got the job done, but all of a sudden now it's 1-1. You've let the guard slip a little bit too much and you almost rest on your laurels. They can't afford to do that either. Cloud9 have got to come correct here, because Rebellion will not give you too many mistakes, will not give you too many errors. You've got to capitalize and you've got to punish.
There will be some teams who very much prefer to start on the tower side with their spawn, but Cloud9 say it doesn't matter where we spawn, and they've actually got the upper hand here in the early stages and will get the ball time to begin with. So Septified now trying to be sneaky, but it looks like Mental smelled him on the stairs, but it doesn't matter. He's still able to get the kill.
Always apply your deodorant, particularly when you're in the conventions, because you can see you can get sniffed out. They can punish it. Manny then, with the camouflage down to no shields, prioritizes staying alive. I like this play from him. As he pushes now over towards the arcade. Mental throwing down grenades. Those camo eyes just spot him out. And that stalker rifle doing so much damage. You know Manny's disappointed with that, but sometimes there's just nothing you can do. Once you get spotted, you're afraid to shoot because you can see him looking at you, but you don't want to confirm it's you.
It's another hot start for Cloud9 though, and I think that's the biggest takeaway so far in this series is their starting strategies have been superb. And Rebellion maybe need to take note of that. Not if just for this series, but future series that may arrive, because you've got to remember this is pool play. There is still a chance that both of these teams could end up competing later on down the line in the tournament, in the championship bracket. We'll have to see whether that comes to fruition, as Manny might be the last alive, but he is still getting ball time, but just can't quite get around that corner. That would have been huge, actually, if he had got around the corner, extra little bit of time, just delaying Shopify Rebellion.
And you could tell he paused for a second, knowing that as soon as he crossed that threshold, there's a lot of pain coming his way. Ball has now transferred. Camouflage is about to pop up bottom middle as well. That's going to be a point of contention very soon. Manny's team has been there or thereabouts, waiting for the slide to push forward. He executes on it. The shroud screen comes in to cover his escape as well. Expertly done from Cloud9.
Whammy. Mental taken down, and now Shopify Rebellion may still have the ball, but they are about to be hunted. Cycle falls as well. Cloud9 are doing very well to communicate where these players are, because actually Rebellion in a few sporadic positions, they're kind of on their own at times, and Cloud9 are picking them off one by one.
A lot of grenades coming Manny's way as he tiptoes his way on that railings, keeping himself just about out of harm's way. Cycle over towards Caution, gets the kill, stays alive. Cloud9 still have the ball. And Suspector's got the stalk rifle, he's got to put it to work, puts a shot down, missed the second one, doesn't get the melee. And now the opening. Stalk rifle transfers hands. You know, you put power weapons in the hands of any of these Rebellion players, they'll punish it. Fortunately though, Manny was there to cut him down, and now it transfers once again. This stalker rifle weapon is cursed right now.
No one can hold it for any longer than a few seconds, it would seem. For Cloud9, considering that their win rate is only 50% on this map in mode, they are really going toe-to-toe with Shopify Rebellion, who have one of the best records on Streets Oddball. And again, it's been about that pace right from the very beginning. Shopify Rebellion have not had that time to reconsider about positioning. They've not had any time to think about any planning or any ball setup. Cloud9 are always in their face at the moment, and it seems to be to the detriment of Rebellion. Maybe that's their kryptonite, is just a little bit of pace at times. When you look at the Cloud9 roster, I mean, there are players who certainly know how to play at speed.
Sab now has got that cursed stalker rifle in his hands. I can't carry it, Mr. Frodo, but I can carry you, and perhaps that's what the stalker rifle is right now. It is just a ring. And it's doing damage, it's going to work. Sab puts down more damage. Pushing forward, getting in the face of Soul Snipe. Manny was there to help his teammate back away. There is an option now, an opportunity to get more ball time. 3 dead, camouflage pops up. It's in the chest of Suspector. All things looking good for Cloud9, except for that little backstab from Suppressed, who manages to get the ball carrier down. And if he throws this out, that is well played from Suppressed.
Yeah, that's really good from him. At least that will stop any bleeding here. But again, it's another camouflage going in favor of Cloud9. Suspector just about stays alive, but sadly he was called out. I think Rebellion need to do better for these camos. They can't allow Cloud9 to be escaping with them so comfortably. Still, a long ways to go yet for Cloud9. They still have to put 30+ seconds on the board.
Time continues to dwindle if you're a Rebellion fan. Score ascending towards that 100-point threshold that Cloud9 need to secure that round. Suppressed, get a couple of shots to his shields. Manny though in trouble. Is he going to try and play this ball? Takes the fight with Soul Snipe, wins it against his former teammate, trying to make himself really difficult. You know he wanted to try and get a melee or a ninja there, but Cycle and Suppress combine. They're throwing fists, they're throwing hands, and they're putting people in the dirt.
Cloud9 were doing very well at protecting the ball as well. As soon as a player goes down, they just say, okay, let's focus on damage and let's focus on delaying Shopify as much as possible so that we can get closer to spawning as a full 4, and then we can actually break. It just means you really are stopping that bleeding and not allowing too much time to go into the hands of Shopify. Still a 37-point lead, and it's going to be ticking here because Shopify's been able to sneak in, grab that ball. Cloud9, they're still scoring.
All of his teammates have fallen. All his friends are dead. Ball's been tossed out towards the garbage. It's down in no man's land for now. It has eventually been scooped up. Camouflage is about to be an influence once more, and it's Cloud9 who are in prime position to pick it up. Rebellion have put so much resources into stopping the ball. They haven't got enough map to really contest this camouflage now, and that could be their undoing. A win condition could very quickly be going their way. Mental continues to fire down shots. Septify gets a kill. That means this push is going to be a lot more easy. Septify with the force push. Throws another player back. Suspector's got another camouflage. Soul Snipe's in big trouble. He falls. They only need 14 more seconds.
I'm shaking my head because it's another camouflage. It's too easy. The timing has been on point for Cloud9, and they just need 7 more seconds. And Rebellion maybe have one more push, but I think it's going to be too slow. And Cloud9 should be taking the round here and will be taking the first round here on Oddball Street. So despite it being one of Rebellion's best, Cloud9 have showed they are very much here to play.
Round 1 in the bag. We engage once more. You spoke about it, Dan, how important it was going to be for Cloud9 if they do get that round 1. Closing out the game. Do not allow Rebellion a chance. Do not leave that door open. Slam it shut. Stalker Rifle for Soul Snipe. He's in arcade. He slides forward. Suspector's going to engage with him. He's not afraid of the Stalker Rifle because he has the shield advantage. Shab was there to cut off the angle as well. Stalker Rifle falls. Camouflage now in 3 seconds. It's been a one-way story for Cloud9. Getting those power weapons, and those power-ups. Suppressed out the nose shields, gets quite a lot of damage onto Suspector, but not enough to pop his shields. And here is that opportunity for the camouflage. A little bit of nade damage for Suspector. He's forced to back away.
So the downside, comparatively to Argyle CTF, Cloud9 cannot just sit on this lead now. Yes, they're up by 1, but they have to continue to be playing at the same kind of pace, which has really been disrupting the chances of Rebellion. For Rebellion, they need to start assessing why things are going wrong. How Cloud9 are A, getting these much camouflages. They've already been able to make sure they rectify that here in this game and say, look, we've got the first camo on the board. We know what the timing is. We know we are in the position to grab the next one. And they just need to ensure that this happens over and over again. Do not give them freely to Cloud9.
Mental continues to play sneaky. Calling out that player. Pick up the Bulldog. Go on. Do it.
Enemy has the ball.
Do it.
He decides not to.
Enemy has the ball.
Do you think you would be a legend or enemy of the state if you picked up a Bulldog at any point during the Halo World Championship?
I think it could really go either way, depending on the fan base. I'd like to think we're people of honor, but sometimes the devil on your shoulder wins.
Yeah, ¿por qué no los dos? Why not both? You can be a legend and an enemy.
You will be a legend to some and an enemy to others. That much is for sure. 4 dead now for Cloud9. And Mental is being an enemy to the C9 players as it stands. Shroud screen goes down. Mental will get the camouflage. Will just... Nope. Shut down. Camouflage down as well. Front tower. Does Manny and Co have that information? It's only him and Suspector on the map now for his team. Soul Snipe's got the camouflage. He's lost a little bit of shields thanks to some grenades. Prioritizing staying alive right now, and with good reason. The Cycle and Suppress have hit the respawn screen. He has got to make himself a very difficult kill, and if he can get any kills on the way out, yes he does. This is good for Soul Snipe. But Cloud9 have the ball, and they're starting to eat away at that lead. Mental falls, killing spree, perfect kill, and double kill for Septify. A lot of damage being done. Speaking of, Stalker Rifle for Cycle.
Enemy has the ball.
Rebellion are definitely doing well at prioritizing that camouflage. I think there are teams you can play against where the camo... Oh my goodness gracious. There are times when you can allow the camo to go into your enemy's hands and you can still be dominating with map control. You can kind of sniff out the camo and it doesn't really play too much of a factor against some of the lesser teams perhaps, but Cloud9 have not been a lesser team. They have very much matched Shopify Rebellion stride for stride here and are 1 round away from taking the lead yet again in this series. But Rebellion are a top 3 team for a reason. They know how to get back into these games.
Enemy has the ball.
Stock Rifles has got to have a big impact here. A lot of shots being fired. Soul Snipes killed Sab, but Suspector needs to get himself involved in this fight somehow, some way. He's trying to. He gets towards tires, but unfortunately for him, Soul Snipe hits him with a Shoryuken and eliminates him from the equation. Shroud Screen was down in the tire window as well. Ball over by the statue. Nobody interested in picking it up for now. 4 seconds, the point of difference for these two teams.
Yeah, Cloud9 have done well at not allowing Rebellion to kind of run away with this despite an early lead. Camouflage is going to be, again, the point of contention shortly. Maybe be a little bit of scrappy time here for Psycho, and it looks like he will be able to grab it, because 3, make it 4 dead for Cloud9. This is perfect. You have the ball, Camo's coming up, you should be able to get it if a spawner doesn't hit you with a nade. Yeah, he's dead. Never mind.
Camouflage wasn't picked up. As a matter of fact, he still had a repulsor that perhaps he wasn't aware was there. That means Manny will capitalize on the error that was made. Ball will be played towards bottom middle, with good reason. They recognize they're in trouble. Suppressed, excuse me. Will take out Manny with that camouflage. Suppressed again, double kill, pushes forward. Sab could be his latest victim. He's hitting shots, but Sab's ones are cleaner, tighter. Kill secured for him. Septify will toss that ball towards Statue once more. Suspector now over towards PD. Septify back tower in the cubby, waiting for anybody to push by. Manny's down to no shield. Soul Snipe hasn't got much more to play with. Cloud9 just about getting the better of these engagements right now. They picked up the ball. They're trying to close the gap. Currently sits at, well, quick math, Dan, looking at almost 10, 12. I was waiting for the 8. It didn't come my way.
You're just hoping a tick was going to come through to make your life a little bit easier for the man.
That's always what I'm looking for.
It's 11. It's the number you're looking for right now. It still hasn't ticked over, just to let you know.
We'll keep a close eye on will that time tick over. Matter of fact, it's Rebellion who are pushing us further beyond that point.
You just want an even number.
Just get me back to 10, please. Don't make me do maths on the fly.
Well, Cloud9 have done very well at everyone kind of stepping up to the plate in terms of ball time. Even Suspector, who hadn't had much of it then, needed to get some scrappy time on the board just to keep it away from Rebellion. But now Rebellion have plucked that ball away at the perfect time, and they have really been able to get into a heavy setup here. Suppressed may be down, so Cloud9 is going to be pushing aggressively, but Mental doing that, not trading out, is massive for Rebellion here.
Really making themselves such a difficult kill. Cloud9 have got to be cautious here. They're throwing good money after bad, it seems. 2 players positioned over towards tower. It's going to be a brawl. Traded out. 3 go down for Cloud9. And again, another opportunity. Septify gets the kill and the camouflage. Will there be more from it, though? Can they get towards the ball and really eat away at this lead?
Enemy has the ball.
Just a quick touch. A little lick of the odd ball before he passes it off, and
that can't be good for you.
Licking the odd ball?
Licking the odd ball.
Definitely a lot of germs on there if you think about it. I don't know where that odd ball's been.
Part of a healthy, balanced diet, or unhealthy, unbalanced diet. One way or another, do not lick your odd balls.
Enemy has the ball.
Septify with the camouflage then. Still going to work. Now 60 points, climbing. 3 dead for Rebellion. Suppressed, waits for his teammate to spawn back up before he pushes forward. Wants a collective push. Seemed to be down to no shields over towards the steps, and you can see Septify desperately wanted to lock in that kill, and he was overzealous. He was punished for it. Now the push comes. The ball was played straight into the waitful, watching hands of Suppressed. He caught it, dropped it immediately to make sure it wouldn't progress over that halfway point, and now they only need 8 more seconds. 2 dead for Cloud9. This one looks done. It looks dusted. Rebellion will tie us up here 1-1 in the oddball, 1-1 in the series.
Yeah, this is far better, or was far better from Shopify Rebellion. And sadly, my thoughts became true from Cloud9. Yes, they had the hot start. Yes, they got that first round, but weren't able to double down here and allowed Shopify Rebellion just a little bit too much time to think. They weren't as quick in terms of moving into aggressive places, and they did give up those camouflages and allow Rebellion to have a far better time with them.
Have Cloud9 altered their strategy in this oddball, or have Rebellion simply figured them out? We're about to find out now in this round 3 which way it's going to go. Camouflage is going to pop up once more. Suspector's got the stock rifle. He's been almost a turret at times. Soul Snipe down to no shields. That's enough damage for him. He probably doesn't need to push it. Lost a couple of teammates along the way. Cycle will just make himself a difficult kill. Somehow gets around that corner. 3 players were put to no shields by Suspector there. None of them were locked in. And now Rebellion are the benefactors.
And Suppress might not have stepped up in the previous game, but he is certainly pulling his weight here in map number 3. 29 kills, 19 deaths, plenty of damage for the assists as well. And not only that, but he's also been holding that ball, been doing a little bit of everything, has Suppress, to ensure that Shopify Rebellion do not go down in this series. Cloud9 now are starting to get pinned back. And they are really struggling to stay alive. They're struggling to stay alive as a 4. I think that's what's important. Rebellion are keeping them on staggered spawns here.
Cloud9've got to fashion some sort of plan and execute on it. So otherwise, this game is going to get from bad to worse. Losing that round 2, really giving them an opportunity to get back into this game.
Well, Cloud9 are currently down by over 30 points. And this is when you really need someone to step up to the plate and make a call. This is a good chance to jump into a listen and see what Cloud9 is saying.
Nice.
So back again.
Camo 10.
Two guys banging on the smoke,
Nice, guys. Camo then.
One more cafe.
Camo's up. You might play for he's the last guy.
Get it? I think there's two up.
Nice, I'm one.
Yeah.
Watch out, man, just
Nice. Ivy still. Watch your drive, man.
Yo, play the same side.
Yeah, live.
Is it bird?
Yeah, can you look at me? Yeah. Good driver weak, I think. I want Chacha.
Yeah, be right. They're stacking. Yeah, go PD.
I'm dead too. NB. One to mid.
Nice.
Good trade.
One's plants.
He has stock arcade, I think, in arcade.
No, he's like ice.
No, he's Bureau now.
Yeah,
Put it.
Pillars, back. Let me drop it.
Go now, I think.
Enemy.
One tires, guys. Ivy, spikes.
He is.
All tires on me. Shut him once. Tires.
Nice. You try throwing it out.
Boss B. Rotate.
We need kills here. Heavy.
Nice job,
Top team, we need more kills.
Ivy, guys, in Ivy.
You look at me.
Yeah.
I'm playing up.
Ivy weak. Ivy very weak. I'm watch out. Watch out, Fronty.
Nice.
Well, certainly plans did come to fruition there for Cloud9. They wanted to just break through and take that ball away from Rebellion. They did lose a player or two on the way, but they are able to stop that incredible setup we saw for a short while. It was a very effective push. Even though Cloud9 went all 4 dead at one point, they were still off spawn, able to break through.
And what we actually seen on the other side of things is the counter to Cloud9's setup. Rebellion pushing out, stacking that side of driveway, really executing it perfectly, breaking that setup wide open. You could recognize as soon as that push was lopsided, Cloud9 knew they were in trouble. They had 2 players positioned over that way, but 3 were coming their way. Simple numbers, you know what way that's going to shake out. And as a result now, Rebellion closing in on a round 2 victory.
Enemy team nearing victory.
Suppress got camouflaged, he continues to jump and avoid damage. And you can see he was spotted out, but when you don't shoot, you just eliminate that opportunity to give any sort of aim assist.
Yeah, Cloud9 knew he was around somewhere. They heard it pop, but now he can pop it, lock it, and start to push because Cloud9, they've lost a couple of players. They're not going to be able to hold on to that ball, and Shopify are so close to taking this round and taking the entire map, taking a lead in the series.
2 down for Cloud9. And it could be about to be 2-1 down in the series if they're not too careful. They've got too few mistakes left in the chamber. Unfortunately, they're once again, Dan, on those staggered spawns. Rebellion have done such a great job of splitting them up, dividing and conquering. That's been the story of this oddball. Shopify Rebellion win this game 2-1.
Despite the fact that Rebellion went down in that first round, again, another really hot start from Cloud9. Experience shines through yet again for Shopify Rebellion. Now for Cloud9, do they have anything left in the tank after such an incredible first map and first round here in map number 3? Maybe they put so much into it now, whereas Rebellion are starting to just find their footing here on the main stage. Sometimes it can take a little bit of time to warm up on a Friday. Rebellion are now 1 map away from winning their 2nd match in pool play.
It's important to note, as you touch upon the pool D, these 2 teams share it with Dark Inside and Native Gaming. So you know both these teams heading into this series were 1-0. Native Gaming and indeed Dark Insider will be watching on here, waiting to see where their opportunity is going to come. And right now it looks as though it's going to be through Cloud9.
Certainly would love a stab at Cloud9 as well, but that's also worrying. If you look at, I mean, this pool is very difficult. If you look at Native and what they've been able to achieve, their growth as they've come through Halo Infinite, they're now going to go up against the Cloud9 roster, who you could argue have been doing the same, right? Two teams who have been on the up and coming, have been able to disrupt some of those big teams, take maps off them, but just haven't quite gotten over that final hurdle. It's going to be the Halo World Championship pool play, where one of them is really going to have to step up if they want to be in a better scenario getting into that bracket.
And it's interesting that the narrative between the likes of Cloud9 and Native are somewhat intertwined, right? Because, matter of fact, SLC, we look back affectionately for Cloud9 because they almost eliminated Space Station Gaming, but ultimately their placement was top 12. And for Native Gaming, their placement was top 6. So you look at the records and on paper, it looks as though, well, they've had two stark contrast tournaments, but as a matter of fact, Cloud9 were only undone because of the opponent that was put in front of them. They happened to run into SSG because the brackets had been upset. And now we look upon King of the Hill recharge, and Cloud9 desperately wanting to push this one to a game 5. Confirmation of what we've seen: Argyle flag, smooth sailing, 2-0, games 2 and 3, Slayer and Oddball going back the way of Rebellion as they take control of the series for the first time. Having a look at their records then, 6-2 versus 2-2. Very different. And you can say maybe that's perhaps because Rebellion make it to a Sunday because they play more series, they play this game type map mode combination a lot more. But Dan, what way do you see this one going?
Shopify Rebellion have been so good so far this year at this map and mode, so I'm expecting this to be a 3-1. I think that Cloud9 have been very valiant with their efforts, but this is now getting into Shopify Rebellion's comfort zone. Sure, we might see another hot start from Cloud9, and you can build from that, but again, it's almost another round-based map and mode. With it being King of the Hill, if it was Strongholds, maybe I would say, okay, an early start, you get a lead and you can start kind of sit on it, you can hold down those two Strongholds, but with King of the Hill, I worry for Cloud9 here, and I think Shopify Rebellion will show their class.
Perhaps that's the concern for Cloud9. They put in valiant performances, but nearly doesn't win the race, almost doesn't win the series. Can they change the narrative here? A hot start is called for. Perhaps the power weapon, getting that shock rifle, maybe the camouflage, giving yourself all the ingredients you need to cause the upset here. Because the expectation going into this series was that Rebellion should win this series. Cloud9 still have time to alter that here. They're down by 1, but you know they desperately want to get into that game 5 and change the narrative around their team that's been painted over the last couple of events.
Cloud9 had all 4 dead on the side of Rebellion, and you have camo and shock rifle, all the tools you need. You got hill time alongside it. Can you get that hot start? Can you take a 1 lead as well? But Shopify Rebellion have lost a player, so we'll get that one a reset. But Rebellion are a top 3 team, and you look at the statistics. You saw the 6-2 across this year. They are one of the big 3 when it comes to recharge on King of the Hill. And I think one of the reasons for that is, I've mentioned about, you know, Suppressed is one of those players who likes to pinch, he likes to float around. You can do such damage to the other team on King of the Hill. Well, whilst we're waiting for that one to get ready, I mentioned earlier that ITB would want to get the job done in Game 4. They didn't, but they are up by 8 here against Pure.
A little window then into what's going on over towards Pool A. And we're in a Game 5, and there's very little time left. 8 kills the difference. But into the breach needing 6. This could be big, not only for them, but for Europe as a whole. Their aspirations of pushing as far as they possibly can at the Halo World Championships. You know ITB want to be Europe's shining light. Last event, they were most certainly that. Maybe even the time before that. They're trying to change that narrative around their team as well. There's so little to separate the teams like Pure, into the breach, Cloud9. Anybody can win on any given day. And as it stands, this Slayer is going to slow down.
Yeah, an 8-kill lead is going to be difficult for Pure to get back into this one. I thought that maybe they would have the advantage, but I didn't know what the map 5 was going to be. Of course, you know it's a Slayer, but the fact it's recharge, I think, does open things up for ITB because it puts a shock rifle on the map. It gives Wootum that chance to be able to dominate as well on the massive keyboard, but it's Druck who has it in his hands at the moment.
And there's that first pick, there's the opener. They might just be able to collapse on some more players from ITB here and get back into this game. It's a 6-kill difference.
Druk just keeps on drucking. Camouflage was down, continues to be down. Cherish is going to venture forward to scoop it up. Nobody there to contend it. Clean, quick camouflage into his chest. 4 members now of ITB isolated over towards the pipes. They have very little map to play with now. This is where the collapse comes. Cherish has got to play this one perfectly. He does not want to be the first one in, but he needs to see damage from his team before he soars in. In he pops, 4 members in front of him, immediately thinks the better of it, and they take care of business. And an opportunity as Jimbo gets a stick onto Druk, and somehow, someway, ITB clutch up. They win the series in a game 5.
It's a massive series win for ITB and for Europe. Can ITB make it their best tournament yet and go on to maybe even break into that top 4? Obviously, time will tell, and there's a long way to go, but they've certainly been able to topple one of their greatest opponents in their pool.
There was a wager going on social media as well, Dan, if I'm not mistaken, between you and Jimbo, right? Can you explain to people what that might be?
I said if ITB win the tournament, I will kiss Jimbo.
That's still on right now, folks. That is on. Taking a look at the scores around the grounds then. Pool A's, B's, C's and D's. Space Station currently on top of theirs. Optic Gaming, FaZe, Rebellion, all the teams we expect to be on top of their pools are so, but it was not as easy as perhaps it probably should have been when FaZe came up against Akave Esports and it went to a game 5.
It did indeed, but look how important that is in Pool A for ITB. Mind Freak, you would expect that to be a victory for Into the Breach just based off of history, but of course, nothing is given here. You know, there are always going to be opportunities that people can upset. Space Station should be a loss for ITB in theory, but we have seen crazy things happen in pool play. But most importantly, for Into the Breach, they are one step closer to ensuring that they get top 2 in their pool so that they start in the winner's bracket on Sunday.
And how crazy is it?
What day is it?
Today is Friday.
Okay.
It's a Friday. And teams are flying. How mad is it that we have Pure, who finished top 4 not that long ago, but now they're playing against Into the Breach? Is that testament to how close our championship is, that anybody really can't win? As I say that, as I set it up, Recharge, King of the Hill on the horizon, Dan. You spoke about how you expect this one to go Rebellion's way. You expect this series to end 3-1. But a chance then for Cloud9, who had a decent start before the reset. Can they replicate that starting strategy? Can they get the camouflage and the shock rifle in the hands of Manny once more?
Well, certainly one thing Cloud9 do know is that they seem to be the better team at securing those power-ups when they're on the map. So the camouflage, they should be expecting to get the higher percentage of them, but it's about putting them to use and being able to shut Shopify down and not allowing them to have those setups here in the hill.
Manny gets a pick. Suppressed down to no shields. Camouflage no longer an issue, no longer a concern. Manny gets close, tried desperately to get the melee. He just wasn't close enough. Septify is down to no shields. This is another good start for Cloud9. They have the hill again, only this time they don't have the shock rifle and they don't have the camouflage right where they might want to. Sab now has got the shock rifle. He's positioned top gold. He needs to start hitting some shots and frying some Spartans out of their boots.
Good early time for Cloud9. 3 are going to be dead, but the last remaining player is Soul Snipe, and he comes out of nowhere with an RKO. And that just means Cloud9 have to be aware of their surroundings, have to start looking for him, but Soul Snipe is on a tear, shuts down 3 members single-handedly for Rebellion, and may have just given them a chance here to try and get this first hill.
His snipe's pretty good, but his fists seem to be better right now. His Soul Snipe registered as lethal weapons, it would seem. Sab top tower will clear him out, so that means that Rebellion's progress will be halted for now. Septify is going to push over towards Elevator. And his teammate Sab is there, so they do have the control side of the map that they would like. They can push into pipes and drop a member down. If they do so, they will start to score. So you can see Suppressed and Cycle touch tight to one another, and as a result, they're going to be closed out, taken care of. Soul Snipe falls as well, so Rebellion now in trouble with Mental over towards that top catwalk in between A and Tower, not really in a position that he can really apply pressure to the person in the hill.
The Rebellion try one more attempt at this one, or do they just give it up? I think the nades are going to dictate that, and the nades do secure the kill, so there is still going to be a push opportunity here for Rebellion. 3 dead on the side of Cloud9. The Suspector is still alive to be a thorn in the side.
Suspector pivotal here then. has one grenade to play with. It has got to be good. They've got players positioned over towards tower. Soul Snipe in trouble. Communication was good. Spectre made sure that kill got cleaned up. They've got to play this one expertly. All they need to do is break this one open. They should be able to claim the hill. They step inside. Both players swinging the miss. Both have T-Rex arms. Cloud9 go down by 3. Septify, the last man standing. He's in a brawl with Cycle. He wins it. And he wins the hill for Cloud9.
Massive by Septify to ensure they get that first round on the board. And Cloud9, boy, did they need that if they want to stay alive in this series. Rebellion almost able to just pinch it right from under their nose. That's very important kills, and we've already seen several individual plays and winning moments here for different guys on these teams.
You never want to get pinched right under your nose, that much for sure.
It really hurt.
That sounds painful, I'm going to be honest. Spectre then. Something that's going to be painful for him is losing this game, losing this series. They fought valiantly for the first hill and secured it. Soul Snipe pushes forward. Cycle meets the same end from Suspector's Bandit Rifle, putting down damage. Players in the hill now. Suppressed is the last man inside tower now, so they have that information. He continues to apply pressure. And you can see Suspector needs help. It comes the way from Sab. This is good from Cloud9. They continue to hold this blue side, but the pressure from Rebellion is relentless.
There's a lot of S's in this game, isn't there? Sab, Suspector, Septify, Soul Snipe, Suppressed, Smanny. They're all there.
That was good from you. We have fun around here. Here's Mental then. Soul Snipe gets the shock rifle, puts it to work. There's another S with shock rifle. We're being challenged all the time.
I do think if Cloud9 can take a 2-0 lead here, then Rebellion may struggle. Because I mentioned, you know, we look back at that Argyle CTF where Cloud9 were able to sit on a lead, and even though it's a little bit more difficult to do it on King of the Hill, you can waste time, of course. You can take a 2 lead, and then you can start to really delay your opponent from getting in, from stepping in, and that clock starts to tick down in your advantage.
Septify goes down, as does Mental. Cycle will jiggle peek from the tower. Sabinator down to half shields. Sticky Grenade will find the forehead of Soul Snipe, so they're going to trade as well. It appears to be good news for Cloud9, but unfortunately they still haven't cleared out blue. They have now eventually taken control. Septify is there over towards double stacking. You can see Suspector's not too comfortable with what might be coming tower side. So he asks his teammates to push over that side. This is going to be huge for Cloud9. If they can secure this hill, like you say, they can really start to dictate the pace of the game.
Big nades though. Suspector was going to be in a great position to try and deal damage that the rest of the team could maybe close in on, but now they are going to be down 2 versus 4. And just like previous, it is going to be a tight finish for this hill, but it looks like Rebellion are going to secure it and will tie things up 1-1. So that lead that Cloud9 fought so hard for, that individual play that they fought to get that first point on the board, it is all for nothing now as we're tied up.
This hill, this King of the Hill game really has been indicative of the series, just how close they are. Very little to separate them, coming down to just moments in time. A slay here, a camouflage there. We wouldn't have it any other way at the Halo World Championships. Mental over towards tower, waiting for teammates to make the call. He's going to cross over towards elevator now. Cycles on glass, shock rifle is up. Sab got the information, there's a player behind him. He gets the kill as well. You know he wants that shock rifle, tips over towards him, but gets plucked right out of the air.
Cycle just needs to be a little bit patient here. I don't want to see him give up this shock rifle. Sadly, it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. I think he really wanted to help his teammates, and sometimes that you're so desperate to get into the action because you can see your teammates struggling, but sometimes you just have to let them die. Yeah. I do it to Scherzi all the time. I watch him run in, I sit back, I enjoy the death that comes through, and then I'll get the kills later.
I'm just going to stay silent because I'm feeling a lot of pain and a lot of energy towards one particular person right now, but I will not build upon that. Instead, I will be the bigger man and talk about the game at hand. Currently sits as though we're seeing a pattern emerge almost here. Cloud9 get really early success in the hill, then Rebellion break the setup, and the hill goes Rebellion's way. We're starting to see that now. Can Cloud9 flip that script? Can they change it? They're really pushed back here over towards tower. Nobody inside of the hill, which is good news for Cloud9 as far as I'm concerned. This means they're not making inroads into the lead that they've already built up. Sab's gonna drop down, try and apply a couple of sticky grenades, not enough blue tack. And unfortunately for him, it's a swing and a miss. Kills keep going the way of Cloud9 for now. With the two dead for a moment apiece. Double kill for Mental, and that means Soul Snipe now in control of the hill, but only for now as the Spectre shuts him down.
Could this third hill be a definitive one? When you look at that clock, 1 minute 48 left. Cloud9 so close to etching another point onto the scoreboard. It's going to be one last push. Cycle gets taken down, but they are still holding it, and it is going to be 2-1 to Cloud9. Not much time left for Shopify Rebellion, but they are on spawn over towards the next hill.
I think Rebellion recognized the situation they were in and prioritized rotating towards blue instead, trying to control that. We know how difficult this one can be. And the thing about it is Cloud9 do not have to stand inside it. They can let Rebellion sit in blue, and as long as they don't have toes inside the hill, they'll be quite happy.
It's a dangerous one. Really tough, this one at blue, because if you do give it up, if you do just allow them to try and step in and then you take them out of it, if they get you all four dead, they can just amp up so much time, and then suddenly you're going into a fifth hill. But Cloud9 are doing well at the moment to keep them out. Rebellion, time not on their side, and they need to start thinking about getting a little bit of extra hill time right now.
They really need Mental to start doing some mental things. Camouflage has gone down. And there we go. Asked and answered, provided by Mental. Hits the face. Manny just about slides, maneuvers his hitbox down just a touch. And that will mean that the headshot that appeared to be on the cards will not be so. And again, Mental will hit the face onto Manny. He's hitting these shots, but time is dwindling down.
Yeah, they've still not been able to get into that hill. Cloud9 have done very well at surrounding the hill, picking them off one by one, and another was about to arrive, but Cycle comes to the rescue, and Cycle should be able to pick up a double, will do so, but two are down on either side, 35 seconds left, and Cloud9 very much still playing this clock.
Cloud9 in the driving seat, they have got control of blue. That means any single time a player from Rebellion step inside, they can do maximum damage without taking much. And that's why they've got to try and clear Septify out of here. They've done so successfully. Unfortunately though, they've lost a member along the way. Spectre comes up clutch and gets that kill, does damage. Manny the last man standing, and Rebellion have got toes inside the hill.
Yeah, this is where you need to work together here. You need to make sure someone stays in at all times if possible. Still 22 seconds to work with. Of course, the clock does stop as long as you have someone with a toe in it. It is ticking away. Two are dead on the side of Rebellion. Cloud9 getting closer and closer to sending us to a game 5.
Spectre trying to get those sticks, will eventually land one, and you can see Cycle leans back in frustration. Septify steps out and takes control of blue once more. Time is dwindling down. Mental steps in. He's not facing the right direction. Cloud9 push us to a shootout. We're going to a game 5.
So impressive from Cloud9 to do that against Rebellion on that map in mode where they have found so much success throughout this entire season. Really does show how far Cloud9 have come as a team. Yes, they were eliminated in top 12 in Salt Lake City, but we know the full story. Had they come up against arguably any other team in that situation, they may have been progressing as far as top 6. Who knows, even top 4 with how they were playing and how good they looked, but they just couldn't get over that finish line. But now they will find themselves in a similar position, a game 5 Slayer, where they just couldn't get the job done. Yes, it's pool play, but it is still going to linger. It's going to still have those bad memories, that bad smell from the games against SSG.
Now you just put, do you have to let it linger in my head, and I can't shake the lyrics. What I'm going to say, this is just indicative of how competitive it is at the Halo World Championships, at the HCS in general. You have a team that finished top 12, going toe-to-toe with a team that finished top 3 at the previous event. That's the magic of Halo, and that's why it's my favorite esport.
It's just so bloody beautiful to watch. And it's one of those scenarios where you never really know what's going to happen. How many times have we been at a World Championship and you look at a Friday roster and you say, all right, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, that's going to be another 3-0. Oh, let's just get to Saturday, forget pool play. Not today. We've already had game 5s. FaZe got taken all the way by Akavi Esports, by the Mexicans that have shown up so far this tournament. We saw ITB take down Pure 3-2 as well. And now we're getting another game 5 here between Shopify and Cloud9. If this is how good Fridays are going to be, just imagine how good it's going to be once we get to the weekend.
Yeah, somehow, some way, the teams that play each other only get better and better. The competition only gets tighter and tighter. And we're in game 5 now. Cloud9 versus Rebellion. Both these teams have trended upwards. The trajectory is on the rise. And for Cloud9, for only a few months ago, fighting in the open bracket, and now going toe-to-toe with a team that has made it to the winners finals and elimination finals time and time again.
And this is what you build for. This is what you train for all year long. the World Championship, when the prize pool is increased significantly, when the honor is increased significantly. And yes, you don't have to play through that open bracket. You have fought all year long so that you can be here at the World Championship. You want to make it count. You want to win these kind of series when you are given the opportunity. You're in a game 5 against a top 3 team here, again, for Cloud9, and it could do you wonders. You think about the implications of winning this game 5, you suddenly get the better seed. You suddenly are in that winner's bracket, essentially as 3rd seed if you go on to win this pool. And that means instead of playing an SSG, instead of playing a FaZe Clan, you might be playing, I don't know, an ITB, a Quadrant, one of the teams that are in the top 6, a Complexity, for example, with a better opportunity of going through.
And how crazy is it, right? You go to a Halo World Championship. Your whole season, you might have been mediocre, average. You get top 12, top 8, top 12, top 8. And then you make it to the World Championships. And if you get a top 6, a top 4, all of the rest of that season where you might have felt like you underperformed, it no longer matters.
No longer matters. And I think that's the scary thing, right? You could have worked so hard all year. You could have been winning LAN. You could have been getting top 3. But then suddenly, you find yourself getting knocked out early, or you lose the pool play games, and it can all be forgotten in just one moment at a World Championship. Well, this is how the pools are looking so far. Everyone has played a single game, a single series of Halo, not just a single game. Optic and Sentinels lead Pool B at the moment, FaZe and Complexity, Shopify Rebellion and Cloud9 in Pool C, and Space Station and Into the Breach in Pool A. All kind of looking how it should in terms of seeding. I guess the biggest question was ITB versus Pure. How was that one going to go? And ITB able to win that one in a game 5.
Yeah, that one was always going to be a coin flip. And of course, what we're talking about, what we have on the main stage, is a game 5 in Pool C, Rebellion versus Cloud9. And this is really to get a chokehold on that pool. You want to try and get yourself the maximum seeding, get out on top, and then play against a team that you might perceive as a little bit weaker, give yourself an easier run going through Saturday, going through Sunday. Taking a look at the stats then, Map 2 Slayer, 50-46. It wasn't quite a nail-biter, but Cloud9 did enough where they could have won that game had they made a decision or two, and it gone a different way.
Cloud9 never got the lead. I think that was the important thing. Shopify always had control of the game, and constantly Cloud9 were trying to fight back, trying to battle back to get into it, and Rebellion were just able to keep them at arm's length. And Mental was one of the reasons why. I thought it was going to be the likes of Suppressed to step up, but Mental said, actually, I'm going to take this game on my back. Needs to do it again here in Game 5. It's going to be Aquarius Slayer, though. Very different from Live Fire. You don't have the kind of weapons to work with on Aquarius. It is going to be more about your bandit and less about a sniper, for example.
Pep talk, game plan for Cloud9. Their coach Sensor leads them back onto the stage to handle business. We have a little quarrel between these two teams that we have to settle. We need a winner, and it has got to be definitive, and we are going to get that. And with Aqua Slayer, Dan, like you say, it can all come down to your opening breaks sometimes. How you start can be truly how you finish on this game type. We've seen it end in a stake more often than not. We've seen the big teams fall to a stake at times. Sometimes, if things go against you, it can be hard to claw it back.
I mean, with how this series has been going, it's almost leading towards one of those tight finishes where it just comes down to a few kills. And if it does happen, will Cloud9 have those flashbacks from Salt Lake City where they had the lead, where they had the chance to beat a top 3 team, and they just let it slip right in those final moments? Well, the overshield is going to be very important, right? It's going to be a situation where you need to be focusing it here on Aquarius, and certainly the power-ups have been an advantage for Cloud9 so far this series.
It's those dang Slayers for Cloud9. We said it before the series, we're going to say it again. And they lost game 2. So it's very much shaping up that Rebellion should take this game 5. But still time for Cloud9 to switch it up, to learn from the mistakes of the past. You've seen they had the pep talk, Dan. What do you think they were talking about? What do they need to do to finally ice up in those final moments?
They say, hey, you remember how it felt last time? When we were in this position against SSG and we threw it away? If you don't want to feel that again, step the hell up. Make sure that you are not nervous in those final moments. Believe in yourself. I mean, these guys are incredible and have the individual skill, but in those moments, they looked scared. They looked worried. They didn't want to make that play. Be the risk taker. It's pool play, so you have a little bit more wiggle room here. You go into this game and you believe you are the favorites. Don't think you're the underdogs.
Sometimes the fear is not wanting to make the play. more importantly, not wanting to be the one that makes the mistake and costs your team the victory. Like you say, it's pool play. If you do falter here, it is not too detrimental to the cause, but you know they want to take victory here. They want to change the narrative. They want to be the team that everyone is talking about. We're going to get some sort of finish this series here and now. We're underway. Overshield's been scooped up, and Suspector's got it.
Well, the shields are up, the weapons are hot, and there is extra shields on board for Cloud9 because that overshield has been taken into their own hands. And if they can continue dominating the overshield, if they can continue focusing it like they've done with the camouflages previously in this series, they could be in great stead to try and win this entire series. Suspector desperately tries to stay alive, but it is a good response from Rebellion. It's 4-4.
And I want to highlight Suspector, how important he was in game 2. 4,000 damage for his team, 17 kills. Pivotal for Cloud9 that when they put themselves in good positions, it's typically off the back of the good work that Suspector does. He is an absolute turret on the map. Put him in positions where he can do the damage. He's sitting P2 now. That's typically a good place to see results. Unfortunately for him, Cycle cuts him down.
If you're Septify and Manny here, you need to be running. You need to be finding a way to get out of the potential pinch that's about to arrive here from Rebellion, but sadly they're not able to avoid it. But off the spawn, you can see Sab and Septify are able to get kills. Soul Snipe, though, gets a double. And at the moment, it is scrappy here, and I think that is good news for Cloud9. Make sure this stays scrappy.
You can see Suspector trying to get close to Sab. Does he just give this one up, recognizing that Sab perhaps was isolated by himself, give up the kill? That's something that Sab now has to recognize, that he's 1-4-4, been involved in a lot of gun engagements, but perhaps he needs to slow things down and stay with his team. Ensure they don't give away too many easy kills like that. Soul Snipe gets a double kill, and now we're all tied up. Make it a 1-kill lead for Shopify Rebellion.
Sab was temporarily the last remaining player there, and he is going to get called out as well. It's so frustrating when you get someone down to no shields, you're just not able to convert it, especially when you don't have any teammates alive to call out to. Your game just becomes survival and making sure you don't give away any extra kills. As Manny can't quite connect with the stick.
Back and forth we go. 2 kills separate us, and we'll continue to do so up until this overshield pops up. Last one was in the chest of Suspector and in the hands of a Cloud9 member. So you know Rebellion wants to pick that up, and they can be the ones that can be the aggressors. They can push the pace and dictate what way this one's going to shake out. Overshield did go the way of Mental. He put a kill on the board. You know he wants to add to it, and he does. Triple kill, an unofficial triple kill for Mental. Suspector answered back with 1, but all of a sudden Rebellion starting to really put distance between the two.
Yeah, if Rebellion can get on top of these overshields, Cloud9 may struggle. Just like what we saw in Livefire, Rebellion having the lead, maintaining said lead. Cloud9 then have to go to the playbook. They have to look to try and break any sort of setup that's happening and try and scrap their way back into the game. A double from Sab is a way of scrapping your way back in for sure.
Just like that, Sab went from 1-5-5 to 6-6-7, turning things around. That's what they need. The Cloud9 are going to see success in this Slayer. Again, important to note, Rebellion are the best Slayer team in the league. They're second to nobody. So the odds are already stacked against Cloud9 here. They've got to mind their P's and Q's. When opportunities present themselves, they've got to capitalize, they've got to execute, and do so flawlessly.
Septify gets an opener here, Suspector follows up, and all the meanwhile, Suppressed is sitting back here. He's just watched all 3 of his teammates die, and that can be the downside sometimes of trying to play the anchor. He will guarantee the spawn over towards him, so at least they can all push together here, but this could be bad timing because Overshield's about to pop, and they are kind of on the back foot.
The all ascent of the P side. 2 members go that way, trying to contest this Overshield. Manny soars forward, but unfortunately for him, Manny men wish death on him. And he goes down. The Overshield remains top middle. It remains uncontested for now. Nobody able to get close to it. Sab is going to try to desperately, but unfortunately for him, down to no shields. Suppressed locks it in and locks in another kill for his team. We're still all tied up with that thruster pack. Locks in a double kill for Suppressed.
Suppressed just patiently waiting for Cloud9 to come to him at the moment, and it is going to be the Overshield in the end going in favor of Rebellion. But it's 27-27 and the Overshield depleted, and it's 28-28. So Cloud9, they were down. Shopify Rebellion were in control. But C9, every single time you think you've knocked them down, they get back up.
incredible. These two teams have been firing at each other for all of about 6 minutes, but nothing to separate them. You get a kill, I get a kill. You get 2, I answer back with 2 more. And just like that, 2-kill lead. But you know Cloud9 will dust themselves off, they'll go again, they'll look to tie this game up once more. Sab's in trouble though. Grenade sent towards SoulSnipe, but not enough to take away his shields or in fact do any damage at all. He makes himself a really difficult kill here on the front of the base, doing a lot of damage, trying to get a sticky grenade. 2 members do avoid it. Mental soars in, and the Slays are going to favor Shopify Rebellion as 3 from C9 go down. Saub will answer back, but unfortunately for him, he's not long for this world. 4 kills now, 36 to 32, and Rebellion getting very close to that 50 kill threshold they need.
It's an incredible speed we're seeing this game played at. If this was 46 to 42, the game would be so much slower. People are far more fruitful with their deaths.
Frivolous.
They really are. They just throw them away. They get aggressive. They push because you are not at the business end of the game. And will you come to regret that a little bit later when, you know, 3 or 4 of those kills maybe could have not been against you had you played a little bit more cautious, maybe not taken such a big risk.
There is this crazy psychology when it comes to Halo, particularly in Slayers, that my death on minute 1 isn't as valuable as the death that I might have at minute 7 and 8. And as the game slowly chucks on, you need to lock in. As a matter of fact, if you do that from the start, you might not give up so many easy deaths. Another overshield for SoulSnipe as he looks to push his team forward, drag them forward, and ensure they have an unbeaten record in pools with a 2-0.
Now, how many times do you hear no more deaths? When it becomes
Just say that for minute 1, no more deaths.
Yeah, when it's around 45 kills, no more deaths, and everyone suddenly somehow stays alive. Just do it right from the start. There were several times here, players from both teams actually just threw their bodies toward players, maybe not caring about the deaths as much. But it is favoring Rebellion. Cloud9 down by 6. And boy, do they need a play call, as the game does eventually slow down here. All 4 members of Cloud9 looking to try and maybe collapse on any individuals of Rebellion. But again, the anchor is going to be there from Shopify to try and maybe pick up the pieces.
And you said if it was 46, 42, the game would slow down. Matter of fact, at 43, it slowed down. All of a sudden, players are starting to put a little bit more weight in their deaths, recognizing that the mistakes you make might cost you the game, and as a result, the series now. We're in a game 5, we're in the shootout, and at the moment, it's Rebellion who have put clear daylight between themselves and Cloud9. A thruster pack now for SoulSnipe. He has the option to change direction at a dime, and he does so to pop up, do some damage, just a little bit of poke damage and back away. Cycle gets a kill, they only need 2.
And they are going to start to push for our Rebellion. You can see they are surrounding Cloud9. This could be the last push of the game.
Here comes the pain, here comes the boom. Rebellion maintain. They are the best team at Slayers. They win game 5. 3-2 their score. They remain unbeaten in pools.
It's heartbreak again for Cloud9 though. Just can't get over that final hurdle when it comes to these game 5s. Surely, eventually, they're going to find a win, but will it be at this tournament, or will we start to look towards next year with how things have been? Couldn't do it to SSG, cannot do it to Shopify Rebellion. But what they can do is go toe-to-toe all the way, the entire distance with these top 3 teams. And that should bode well for Cloud9's chances, especially when you look at this pool. They're going to have to play against Native if they want to be starting from the winner's bracket.
Yeah, I really like what Cloud9 are doing. They can take confidence in the fact that they are taking these series to the distance. Yes, of course, you will look back with some point of contention. You'll think to yourself, if I had just made this decision, if I had just not died to that grenade, if I had turned left instead of right, yes, these are the things that you will go back and analyze and overanalyze. You'll almost crucify yourself on it, but as a matter of fact, you need to know you're putting things together, you're doing the right things. The more reps you get, these results will come.
It's going to be a difficult pill to swallow yet again for Cloud9, but they need to forget about it, focus up, and start to think about their next opponent of Native. Because